want to see.
Beautiful out, wasn't it?
That was a great day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get this out of the way. I guess when someone gets in there, let us know if you got us. Make sure everything's okay. Yeah, we're live right now, so we're a few minutes early, but that's all right. We'll allow some people to get in here. I think that sounds pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys can hear us in the chat and everything, let us know. Let us know if it's going good. What's you, Jake?
Got me. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's actually really, really good.
Right on.
That's way better than what we were working with.
Improvements.
Yeah,
It's almost like we know what we're doing now, huh? Second time?
yeah.
A little early, too.
Yeah, we're a little early. That's not exactly on brand for us.
No.
Hey, well, I'm gonna slide out here. If anyone's in there and you guys are watching, and you have any questions to post them up right now. We're gonna get fired up here in a minute. I'm just going over some of the stuff that we have already. Questions sent in. Episode 1 is up to 6,000 views.
I haven't even looked lately.
Yeah. It's great. I appreciate that. Get this shared on Facebook. Boom.
Does the microphone pick that up?
Oh, yeah. I think it does.
It did.
Should be pretty good. I'm starting to get more people piled in now.
I'm happy it's raining out, though.
Where does it show the views on the screen? Oh, 5 viewers right
Yeah.
there. I see it.
Oh, yeah, up top.
Get people rolling in. All right, I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick. Should have more people. Let's see.
Close up. Yeah, we need to get a longer cord, don't we?
Yeah.
Does that cord go any longer or no?
Which mic is Alvin?
Mute it.
2.
Yep.
Yeah, he's muted.
Right on.
We'll get her figured out.
We'll get her
Chuckles.
figured out.
Dun, dun, dun.
Seems like every time I get the headset on, I get gas. I get a burp.
Mm-hmm.
Every time, dude. Last night I was holding it.
Bush lattes don't help.
You guys better get a couple on the table.
It's all right.
Guess we can get Kevin out here. Kevin could do some beer
Beer
runs.
runner. Elvin just went to the bathroom, you guys. They're just getting on here. Wait for him to get back out here if you guys have any questions.
Yeah, we're
Put
we're
them in the
getting,
comment section.
getting the sound and everything a little bit better every week.
Ryan Santo sounds a lot better. Louder and better than last
Right on.
week.
Well, we got
Good to hear, Ryan.
2 new headsets, so it always makes it a
Yeah,
little bit
we
better.
updated the audio.
Yeah.
Our audio game has been stepped up a bit. Yeah, I know I had some questions.
Do you want us to bring a couple up too? Or?
Yeah, go ahead if you got them. Bring them up. Oh yeah, one was like the caliber of gun we were using.
I think we went over that a little bit last time, but not really in depth on it.
Yeah, I don't know if well, let's see. I don't know if we actually like laid out the exact rifle. You did.
Yeah.
Jake did,
Yeah.
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 Switch over.
Got a little bit of news too coming up as far as like the podcast and everything. So I'm sure some of you guys, if you saw it on Facebook last night, we were recording a podcast. Did a whole podcast in Charlie's living room. Served as a good studio. Right?
Studio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, nice and small. Keeps the echoes down. That was good. Couple on Messenger, but
You got a couple on Messenger.
yeah, there's one from Hunter.
Asno.
Yeah, I live in Indian River, do a lot of hunting. Have some really nice deer on camera. Never seem to seal the deal.
I wonder,
Any
I don't know if
hunting tips?
Hunter is on here or if he'll see this, but I wonder if that's the same Pazinos that own property
Oh, yeah,
by where your brother hunts.
Good.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't want to say the name of the road, but
Yeah.
possibility.
I know Pazinos. We actually got
That
permission on it to
sounds
track
familiar.
and through there this year.
Yep, I remember now. Yep.
Yeah.
He says, "Do you have any tips?"
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it depends on the situation, depends on the time of season. I mean, if you're getting them on camera in the first week of November, I mean, you could just be getting deer scooting through.
Mm-hmm.
If you're getting them in, early to mid-October, I mean, it could be, it could be a deer living in the area, using the area, but usually if you get them on camera in that time of year, you're pretty close to their core area. So one, had a guy reach out to us about, he's an outfitter.
Mm-hmm. Gary,
Yeah. Oh, he hooks people up. I have.
have you
had-
talked to him?
Yeah, yeah.
How's that work? I read it. But I
So
was
he's
kinda
he's like a
confused.
travel agent. He's the middleman between an outfitter and someone looking to go on
Oh.
an outfitted hunt.
Okay.
I got
You know, so he sets it up to where someone says to him like, hey,
Basically the same way like they do with high fence ranches.
kind of, yeah, except, I mean, he hooks him up. So he's like I said, a travel agent. So like if I wanted to go on a mule deer hunt with archery and I wanted a certain success rate, I'd get a hold of him. He'd say, okay, this is basically the area you want to go to. This is what you're going to need. This is the tag you're going to have to draw, or, maybe you don't have to draw and you can buy an outfitter tag or whatever. But he's the person that kind of connects them with the actual outfitter. And I
Okay.
know what they usually do is they usually take a cut, or they they have a website where they'll promote, certain outfitters.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, I'm gonna click
Well,
that off. 'Cause
yes, it says
should probably be a lot better. There you go. Cause my thing was.
well, we also muted you too when you went to the bathroom.
Oh, okay. Someone said to me that was really washed out. That camera, and I don't know how to adjust it.
Ryan there says it sounds.
Yeah,
Sounds better.
everything should be sounding pretty good. We got the right stuff now. So, all right, where do you guys want to start off at? We definitely appreciate everyone tuning in. We're gonna get started like 3 minutes early, so I appreciate you guys waiting and while we were getting things fired up. But had a few questions that were sent in over the week, since our last live feed there. And just to give everyone an update, we're not gonna be doing live feeds every week, but right now during the release of the Deer Camp series, we're going to be doing live feeds. So after that, we'll be doing maybe once a month or whatever as the season kind of draws in. If people have questions they want answered, they can reach out to us. But Charlie, you can fill them in on the podcast and everything.
Yeah, so Jake and I are going to be hosting a podcast every week, and we're going to try to air it on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. They're going to
No,
be
Mondays.
Mondays?
Yeah, it'll be Mondays.
Okay, right on. So we're going to do Mondays, and we're gonna talk to the small hunters. Jake's already got one person in mind, so we're going to try to put one out every week. It's going to be Jake and I hosting it. Elvin's going to be involved.
Yep.
We're just going to have that smaller hunter as a guest. We're going to try to get the
Wouldn't
guys
say
that we
small
want.
hunter. I would say more or less like the unknowns.
Unknowns, yeah.
People that aren't on
Yep.
Instagram.
There's a couple big names that we want to talk to, but not as big as you think, what I
Yeah.
mean? But we're going to get into a little bit more bear, a little bit more cat. We're going to talk elk. We're going to talk turkey,
fishing.
fishing.
Yeah, we want to find some of those hole-in-the-wall guys that have been killing stuff for years and
Yeah, you
years.
see them
and
at the
years.
bar on a Saturday night. They're a little
Yeah.
local watering hole.
I'm a big
Straight
fan
up
when I'm
killers.
listening to a podcast is that little bit of story time. So every podcast we're going to try to push that in there so we get a little bit of stories and just enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, definitely a lot of value to be had there.
Yeah.
But, excuse me, we
Not much-
recorded our first one last night. Like I said, it was at Charlie's house. If you guys follow us on Facebook or Instagram, I posted that. Excuse me, God. That episode's actually going to air. It'll come out Monday morning, so I think 9 a.m. I think the way we have it set up, it's going to be on basically all your platforms. It's going to be on Spotify. It's going to be on Google Play. It's going to be on Apple. And then we're also making a video out of it and putting it on YouTube, kind of to just, so someone doing something in the evening, they can put it on in the background and they can listen to it right off YouTube. So that will be pretty cool. So if you guys want, you guys can fire away with any questions or whatever. And actually, we can start at just kind of how what you all thought about episode 2. I know that we got a lot of comments on it, and obviously we're going to break down pretty much everything that was either said or what happened in it. Some of the key points that we recalled. Obviously Jake's situation, and then
We got some Kleenex on the side here
Yeah,
just in case when Jake
just
brings
in
the
case
story up.
he breaks down.
I told you I have something in my eye. I'm not crying.
I'm not crying. They're not tears.
Every
No.
time we bring it up, he's like, "Oh man, that wood chip in my eye is driving me insane."
Just don't know what it is. I'm not crying, no.
Whitetail Warriors, hey, how's it going? Hopefully your evening's going good too.
We had, I know someone messaged in, they said something like along the lines of, if that was me, I would have thrown the gun out of the tree. And I'm like, I'm surprised Jake didn't. I know that was
Yeah.
pretty hard.
It's one of those things, like, you think you're going to be, like, infuriated, which don't get me wrong, I was infuriated,
Yeah.
but you're also, like, in, like, awe.
Yeah.
You know, like,
How did this happen?
Did this really just happen?
Yeah.
You know?
Couldn't have happened on a doe or anything like that. No, it had to happen on a
This really
Michigan
just happened. It's like,
giant.
Well, like we were saying, if you had that chance on that first deer that you had spotted, you would have known right there.
yeah. And honestly, we say that, but it was so quick.
Yeah.
once I got in my stand, the ice may not even have been
Not even
formed
been
then,
there.
you know.
Yeah, because as soon as you hung your gun up, I'm assuming it trickled down, and then that's
Yeah,
when
I'm
it
sure the
froze.
moisture, you know, so I had my gun in the cabin.
Yeah.
It was warm.
Yep.
Took it out to the car, put it in the gun case, which my gun case was cold.
Yep.
Drove to my spot, and then brought it back out of the
Yep.
warm truck into the, you know, so hot, cold, hot, cold.
Yep.
I'm sure condensation built up in the action.
Yeah.
And then I hung my gun barrel up
Yep.
from the tree. So any condensation ran out of the action, down and behind the trigger,
Yeah,
and
that's
just
how-
froze
Mhm.
solid right there.
So to answer your
keep an eye on
question, Whitetail Warriors deer camp, that light's hitting it just right. But yeah, Jake had a piece of icicle right behind the trigger.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, if you look in this in the video there, I put a little picture in there because that's the one that you had sent out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I saw that, I was like, oh my god.
So that was actually even, I took that picture after I got the gun to dry fire.
Mhm.
So at that point, it had melted enough,
Yeah.
just enough to where the gun could fire, you know, but the ice stayed in there to where I could snap a picture of it.
Oh my god. So it was even actually worse.
Yeah, so it was worse than that.
Mhm.
Wow. You gonna hunt with that gun again, Ryan asks?
Absolutely. I don't really feel it was the gun's fault. And honestly, I mean, it was human error. I learned from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
judge the gun.
You know, we were both in the tree stand when you sent that text message out, and then sent that picture. And the first thing we did was looked at our guns.
First thing I did,
Yeah.
look at my gun.
So from now on, I'm just gonna leave my gun in the truck, unless it's like absolutely
Yeah, I don't bring mine in.
drenched. You know, like on
Yeah.
a rainy, wet,
Mhm.
snowy day or something. Then obviously you want to take it in and get it dried off. But
Soon as I get done and I get back to the truck, I wipe off my gun, and then I throw it in the case.
Yeah.
And, you know, case is usually dry, obviously, and then you know that's where it stays. I don't bring mine in.
yeah,
No, mine stays in the truck.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, maybe not the best idea, but I mean, we're all at camp. We all know each other, so it's not like. You know,
Yeah.
But. Yeah. What we got here?
My gun never got back in the cabin.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're spot on. You take it in, it's gonna thaw out or get warm, and then you take it back outside, and then it's cold, so you get condensation. That's how it builds up there. So.
Yep.
Definitely
Unless
don't
you're
like
hunting
to
in a
do-
heated blind, I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but-
unless you're
Right.
hunting heated blind, that is nice.
Yeah. And what kind of gun were you using, Jake?
That was a Browning X-Bolt 300 short mag.
300 short mag.
180 grain, right?
It's a good gun.
That's
too.
what.
It's a good round.
Yeah, I shoot Federal Premium Nosler partitions.
Yep. Now we had also on there. Obviously, your dad's buck kill. I don't know
Yep.
if you want to break that down a little bit. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, so that morning Jake went to his spot, I went to my spot that morning. And my spot was one of the spots where I go in, if I can't sit all day, I'm not coming back. So that evening, I told my dad that morning when I took off, I said, well, if I get too cold and come out, I'm not going back in there. And I'll just go with you tonight. He's like, okay. We'll meet at noon, 1 o'clock. If I don't show up, just leave without me because obviously I don't have service. So I got to camp, and I think he wasn't even going to go out that evening. He's sitting on the couch all relaxed, and I walk in, and I'm like, hey, you going to go out or what? Oh, yeah. I was just waiting on you. I was like, okay. So we went out there. We literally in the blind for 20 minutes. We were just talking normal and everything. But he's on he's lucky enough to know people where there's this piece of public. It's kind of landlocked, but it isn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We could walk onto it. But he's got this permission where he can drive his vehicle and park his deer blind on the private and look out in the public.
Mm-hmm.
So he's lucky enough to there. He's
Yeah, you
got a
can see
little
in
bit
the
of the
video right
private.
where he pulls
Yeah, he's
up.
still got to walk. It's a pretty good hike to
Where
the
he
blind.
to his blind, yeah. Where
They just
he
let him
parks.
drive it in there
No,
to
no.
park it.
Just to park it, and then he has to
Yeah,
walk,
and then he
walk
has to
from the
walk,
gate.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he can't hunt on the private property. He can just park his trailer or
on the state line.
or because he's an older guy, he can still walk, he can still do his thing, but he can he can go and get the deer with his truck.
He can still do a little
Dude, he's
bit.
not
can
that
still live
old.
Yeah, he's really not that old.
Well, you tell him that because he brings that up all the time. If you ask him to do anything,
So
I
he's
just
the one
can't
that
do
says he's
that."
old?
He says he's
Because when
old.
you said it in the video and he looked at you like, really?
Really?
But yeah, we were in the blind for maybe 20 minutes, and I was like, "Hey, deer right there." I mess with him all the time when I'm sitting with him.
I can't stand that. Yeah, when people used to mess around and be like, flag or deer, deer, deer. You know, I'd get fired up, right? So I always hated that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got my payback because
Little
my
boy that
kid does
cried
it
wolf.
too.
Yeah.
And then when a deer does come in, they're like, deer, 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 deer. Nah, yeah, right. Shut up.
Well, he was all excited because I brought the camera and everything. And so I'm sitting there and I look up and it's just staring at us. And I grab the camera real fast and I bring it down. And he's just sitting there. He's like, he can't see it because of the blind spot. We're relaxed. 20 minutes in the blind. We're just relaxed. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So he's just relaxed. And I'm like, no, there's one there. I'm trying to get the camera up, getting it all flipped out, getting everything hooked up, battery in. I'm like, no, I'm being serious. Ah, okay. It goes like this. He's like, well, there is a deer there. I was like, yeah, I told you. He's like, I thought you were messing with me again. And I'm like, no. But
That's why you don't mess with people about that
That's why
shit.
you don't. You can't. You gotta
Yeah.
be alert.
Yeah, but he used to do that to me when I was younger.
Yeah,
Well,
I do
they-
it to Lexi.
Yeah.
I get her fired right up.
Tom
Well-
says the heated blind does help a lot. I'm too old to sit by a tree. That was for the younger years.
Yeah.
Great when hunting with a pistol. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Tom hunts with a pistol.
Mm-hmm.
I got one. It was like a year or two ago, maybe 3 years ago. Remember he sent a picture to us.
I know.
Yep. Yeah, I know. That was pretty much the highlight of that video, though, was the frozen trigger buck. But your
Mhm.
dad's incident was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, I scored again on a 6-point without brow tines. Someday, I'm gonna shoot a 6-point that has brow tines.
I'd like a big 6-point with brow tines.
I have a decent sized 6-point that I shot back in, I think it was like 2012. Like, he was a nice deer. He had brow tines too, but he was still only a 2.5-year-old deer. I actually think he was the offspring of my big 8 that I shot there in 2010.
Yeah.
Because pure white antlers, they came up the same way, just the same genetics. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that one. Well, that one didn't have brow tines, but the one you shot in 2017, 18,
Which one?
the taller one, the one that got the shirt.
Oh,
The
yeah,
one,
yeah,
the
that
one
one.
we went
That was a
found the
nice
next
buck.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a nice buck. Too bad it didn't have brow tines.
Yeah.
We all thought it did in the camera, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, it
We were
was.
fired right
If
up.
I'd have shot that 6-point in Ohio, that'd have been my biggest 6-point.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a pretty nice buck.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah.
not
When you go down
not
to
what I
Ohio,
wanted
you're
in
just like-
Ohio, you know. I'd have
Yeah.
shot it here in Michigan for sure, but
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I saw a
was
few
pretty-
bucks in Ohio that I was
pretty
shooting.
gnarly buck.
My standards weren't set too high going into opening day this year.
Well, I saw a bigger buck the day before I shot mine, so
Yeah.
way bigger.
Yep. Yeah, I think Tony was the only one that struggled seeing deer consistently.
Yeah, he saw that one the first night, and
Yeah.
I don't think he had another close call with a
Mm.
buck, anyways.
Yeah,
Right.
he's seen a toad on the first
birthday.
evening, I think.
Yeah, and then after that, it was kind of pretty
Yeah.
dry for him.
He said if it was a little bit more daylight, he would have probably smoked it. But
Yeah.
What's your guys' thoughts on the deer herd up there, more or less, than say 15 years ago? Well, 15 years ago, it put me right around graduating high school.
I'd have been like 13.
Yeah, you would have been 13.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause I'm 5 years older than you.
Yeah.
when we got out of high school, I think you saw more deer driving
Well,
around.
we got Tim Hogan in the chat here. Said, "Hey boys, so glad to see you keeping it rolling." What's up, Tim?
What
How's
up,
it going,
Tim?
man?
Yeah.
I don't know. 15 years ago, I think you could see more deer while driving around and just. I don't like the.
They're in
So I would say
pockets.
it definitely peaked out
Mhm.
when they had the limited doe
Does.
permits for Otsego
Yes.
County.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was Otsego. There was a few counties. Sheboygan,
Yeah.
Charlevoix, Montmorency. I think was the only one
Yep.
that stayed.
Well, I know in 2012 we whacked them.
The does.
No.
Oh, the
bucks.
bucks,
Remember at our
yeah.
camp?
Yeah.
We whacked them.
I would say it's definitely gotten a lot tougher the last,
Yeah.
5 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a
Well,
lot
it's
tougher.
ever since pretty much like universal doe tags. And I know universal doe tags was only like 2 years ago, but the quotas got to a point where they might as well have been.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's been longer than 2 years.
Aaron and Elvin, I owe the biggest buck to you guys. Yeah, I remember that was opening night. I remember we walked in and set him up in there. He shot that big 9-point. Bigger than one he shot down in Illinois at an outfitter.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that was
Right on.
cool.
I think I saw it. I came out to camp that night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to go to work.
Yeah.
I got to hunt opening morning. I know exactly where I was hunting too. And Aaron was late to his tree stand that morning. I remember that opening morning. Then I only got to hunt till like maybe noon or 1. Then I had to go in and work 4 to 4 to jail.
On
Dude.
opening day.
Dude, don't eat. It sucked.
It's rough.
I mean, it sucked.
That's rough.
Yep. Can you touch on how you guys all know each other, how your deer camp came together, and how you settled on your hunting area? I mean,
Our hunting area is huge.
it's huge.
Yeah.
It's counties. It's
So
not like
We camp in different places every
Yeah.
year.
We might
And
have
we
the
just
same
travel.
spot.
yeah.
Yeah, we
like
hunt
2
the
years
same.
in a row. Oh, no, I'm talking about camp. Camp's like we usually stay maybe 2 years and then
Yeah,
we'll
it's
move
usually
it
2
around.
or 3 years, and then we're moving
Yeah.
again.
But
Yeah.
our area is so wide. I think we kind of like,
Well,
Yeah,
the-
there's times like some of us are on the east side of the state and some of us are on the
Yeah.
west side of the
Yeah.
state.
well, especially this past year. You know what I mean? We were
Yeah.
like,
There's been times where we were at least 40 minutes apart.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, someone, I mean, last year, well, me and Aaron and Tony and Uncle Dave, we all camped out east there for the first few days, and then once it broke down, I was camping with you guys. But where you guys were camping was like centrally located.
Right.
And we could just go everywhere.
Go anywhere.
And you go 20, 30 minutes this way, 20, 30 minutes that way, if not farther.
Yeah.
I mean, the sky's the limit. I think if you put all of us together, there's people that hunt Sheboygan, Charlevoix, Montmorency, even Antrim, I think. Obviously, at Seago, Emmett.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone goes down to Crawford, but
No.
it wouldn't be out of.
Do a little
out
bit of
of
shed
reach.
hunting. That's about it.
No,
down
we
there.
pretty much go east, west, and north
Yeah,
from the Gaylord area.
yeah,
Might get a little south of Gaylord, but not much.
yeah. Yeah, I've hunted south of Gaylord a little bit, but yeah, I can't think of any time that I rifle hunted besides when I hunted down in Mayo, but that was a
Yeah.
long time ago.
And
Yeah, but I mean, to answer the first part of his question, we all grew up with each other. I've been best friends with Charlie since I was in kindergarten,
Mhm.
and Jake's his cousin. And Jake, as soon as he started kind of getting on his own, growing up, he just started kind of hanging out with us. And before you know it, we're all at deer camp together, doing what they did with their dads, and I did with my family. We just made our own camp.
Yep.
So it was
And our first camp was in 2008.
2008.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, it's 2008, and we made a. Get this. We made a tent out of tarps.
And tree.
I came and seen you
like
guys
old
that year.
branches.
It was
and
awesome.
cedar branches.
That was the
and
year I
stuff.
think your brother shot a 3-point with the.
No, that was the
No,
second
second
year.
That was the second
That was
year?
the second year.
Okay.
But we seriously took like sticks, like saplings, man,
Mhm.
and we tied them together into like a big frame, like a tent frame.
And
it
I bought
was-
one of those old little wood stoves that you see at Home Depot
Yeah.
and Lowe's and stuff, them little tiny things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't stay warm at all.
And we had it backed up to his like little, was it like a 12 or 15-foot camper?
Mhm.
Oh, it was sweet.
Tony, or not Tony, but
was
Caleb
sweet.
burnt half of the tent down.
Yeah.
So we had to buy another tarp, put it on that side,
Yeah.
and then our camper caught on fire.
Yep.
It was a rough year. It was a rough
Caleb
year.
is really good at burning stuff
Oh
down.
man,
Yeah.
horrible.
You
at it,
never know
dude.
what's gonna happen.
Loves
when
to
you
play
leave
with
him alone at
fire.
camp. I came back one time. This is when we had the Green Army tent. We were camping at the same spot.
Yep.
It was like maybe 2010 or 2011. It's 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I came back to camp and there's smoke coming out of it. And I'm like, oh great, Caleb, let the fire go out. No, he opened up the damper so wide open that the pipe was red hot and it was starting to char up the pole, the tent pole, because it was
That
made
was
out
next
of
to
wood. And we're like, dude,
He's sleeping.
he's sleeping. Me and Charlie,
So was
we
that
rolled
the
back
year-
in, there's smoke rolling out.
Was that the year Caleb stayed there by himself for like the whole month of November?
That was
I
that
think
year.
so.
That was that year. Yeah.
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 Well, didn't he get laid off usually in like the
Mhm.
second or
Yeah.
first week of November?
Well, we all left. We we were back. We worked during the week. Come
Yeah.
back like on a Thursday. We were gone for like 4 days, and
Yeah.
Caleb didn't have a truck or something. No chew or anything, dude. He was just hair was all mounted up, and we're like, "You all right, dude? I've been
Yeah.
here since Sunday or something. I thought you guys were coming back." No, you good? No, I'm not good. I'm like, oh, geez, dude.
Part wild.
I said, where's your truck? Oh, my truck's stuck down at the end of the road. I'm like, oh my
You're, like,
god.
digging under stumps for like bugs.
We
boiling
had
tree
food
bark.
there.
Oh,
But yeah,
man.
yeah,
Yeah, it was-
Caleb was a good character. We haven't had him at camping.
That was
2
back
years
when we
now.
barely had money for
Mhm.
anything else.
Well, we were
Let
eating
alone
deer.
yeah, we were
That's
eating.
all we were eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Montmorency. Yeah, Montmorency's good. What kind of calibers do you guys use? I use a 300 Win Mag or a 308. This year I used a 308, but I usually use my 300 Win Mag when I can find shells for them. My shells, not just any random ones. Charlie?
I use a 300 Win Mag. It's a Browning A bolt. I use 180 grain. I just switched ammo because I was having that trouble finding ammo. So I'm back to a Hornady. That's all I could find.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also got 243 that the kid uses, and we got another 308 just in case. Just nice to have a couple backup guns.
And your old trusty 30-06 that
Oh,
went
in the
river.
river. Well, I haven't got the new scope on there yet. It's in the
Yeah.
box.
I gotta put a scope
I
back
haven't
up
put
on
it back on yet.
270.
Yeah, that was a crazy day.
Yeah.
And Jake already went through on his gun, but
Yeah, for anybody that wasn't listening, I shoot a 300 short mag,
Yeah.
Browning X bolt.
Yeah, and both my 308 and 301 mag are X bolts. I like Browning. Period. I've owned
Yeah.
an A bolt, a couple of X bolts, and yeah, I love them. So I probably wouldn't do anything. different
I
there.
think we do. I think we do have some old pics of our old camps and
Oh,
stuff. If you go far enough on the pictures, I think you can find a couple old
I
ones.
know I have some on my Facebook page.
But I don't. I think the 2008 era. I don't think we had great phones to take pictures.
No,
I don't
I
think we
think-
had pictures of that one.
no, I was using
The
one of those
following one
slide
we
open
did.
phones.
Yeah.
You know, ones that would
With
like
the keyboard on them.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
the keyboard on it. That's what I was using back.
The
in that
following
day.
year, I bought a Cabela's tent, and that's what we used for the second year.
Yeah.
We got away from the tart, but
Yeah.
I don't even think we have pictures of that one either.
No, I don't think so. That's when I was down in college.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's not mention any names or anything. But you guys remember? I think it was probably 2014. Somebody brought a 10 by 12 Cabela's tent.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
somebody drank way too much alcohol
And they
and
were-
pissed in somebody else's boots.
Oh man.
Yeah, what happens at deer camp? I couldn't believe that. I remember being in because we were staying in Aaron's trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
Aaron's-
had mine.
we
I had
had-
mine.
deer
Yep.
camper.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, you guys were in the camper. We were in the trailer. We just heard yelling. Something's not good. Yep, someone had a little bit too much to drink. Yep.
That'll happen at deer camp.
Just a little bit. Tom says everyone knows everyone in Vandertucky. Yeah, pretty much. Got any pics from that camp? It was great. But it was great. Yeah, we got some. I think I'll post them on there.
Yeah.
And
Well, I was just on there. I think we got a couple old ones on there.
Okay.
You just got to dig deep a little bit on the
Okay.
pics, but yeah.
Yeah, I have to go back and
Mhm.
reshare those. So awesome you guys are doing it. Planning a trip up. I'll drop a line and get in town. Nice, man. Yeah, come see us.
Yeah.
Where's Aaron? Aaron's at home. Yeah, he's at home. I
Or
don't
called out.
Yeah,
Is
or
he
he got
working?
called out working on a power line or something.
Let's ask them.
Let's
Aaron,
ask.
where are you at? If you're listening.
Would you guys
You're
say
wanted.
Ohio is similar hunting to when you first start going down, or has the hunting got worse or more crowded?
I'd say
Honestly,
more crowded.
I think it has gotten a little more crowded, but it hasn't changed the amount of deer that I see.
No.
I've only been there once, so I can't
Yeah.
really tell you.
It doesn't. I don't think much has changed. I think them deer, at least when we go down, they're just so worried about moving, covering ground. And
But it's also so, 5 years for me. And it's like you go down one year and it's crowded. Next
Yeah.
year it's nobody.
yeah, I guess
You
it
know what I
depends. Yeah, it depends on what day you land on, or
Yep.
maybe, something going on. Could be also weather too.
Yeah.
People see that there's, 65, 70-degree weather in the forecast. They don't even bother making the trip to where we do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's ever stopped us.
There's a good one.
Doesn't
Doesn't have to
your-
be your biggest buck, but could you each share a brief story of your favorite buck harvest?
I know which one mine is.
I got mine picked out. Mine's my biggest buck.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
That was a good year.
So
Yeah,
I'll start the year prior.
prior.
Okay. Yep.
Would have been 2014.
Mm-hmm.
I killed
Yes.
that buck in
Yes.
2015.
Yep.
So 2014, I was sitting in my tree stand. It was about 8:30 opening morning, and a small basket rack buck was chasing a doe out across the marsh in front of me, and I was watching them. They were running back and forth, and I happened to look over to my left, and in a little opening to my left in the tag alders stood a big buck, and it was only, probably 60 yards. And by the time I got swung around and settled into him, he was walking, just getting ready to walk out of that shooting lane. And I rushed the shot, missed, shot at him a second time, going through the tag alders, missed again. And thought he was gone forever, never see him again. And then 2015, the following year, I go into my tree stand opening morning. I pull a chip out of a camera that I had over a scrape on my way in. And just as it's breaking daylight, I'm going through that chip, checking it, and I see that buck that I'd missed the year before working that scrape. He was there the day before, 7:30 in the morning. And I didn't even finish checking the chip, and I look up, and I see horns moving around in the tag alders out across the marsh. And I ended up, I could tell, once I got him in the scope, I could tell it was him, but he was tending a doe in those tag alders. And I watched him for what? It was like,
I thought it was over an hour.
it was well over an hour.
Yeah.
And it was a long poke. It was 280 some yards.
Yeah, it was
where
a
he
good
ended up
poke.
stepping out. But yeah, 2 hours or an hour and a half, whatever it was, it felt like 10 minutes. I was watching that buck, just waiting for him to mess up. And eventually, I seen the doe stand up, and she took off running. And when she stood up and took off, he stepped out of the tag alders and shot. And I wasn't even sure. The shot felt good, but went and looked, and that's all there was a little chunk of meat where I shot. There's no blood, no nothing. So I was all worried. And get a hold of these guys, and it was a couple hours later. We ended up going back out there.
Yeah, me and Joe, we got out of the stand around 11 to come. We came to you.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and deer went, like 40 yards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't go very far at all. Because I remember where you said, hey, this is where we found the chunks of meat. So we kind of were like, all right, well, there's this buffalo grass that's like well over our knees. And I started walking, kind of to the east, towards the edge of the swamp. And all of a sudden I look over and it's like 2 yards from me. You couldn't see it from we were standing, like Jake said, we were standing like maybe 20, 25 yards from it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And when we stopped and looked, I'm like, dude, there's your buck. And just chaos.
Yeah, it was cool.
And the sucky thing is I don't know if, because Joe was filming, I think the microphone came unplugged.
Yeah.
And so we didn't get any of the audio on that. And it sucked, but it was just like, well, it was, still a really cool moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was by far my favorite, I think.
Really?
Well, mine would be from this year.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, that would. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
it's a
could,
good story.
I mean, I'd like to share that one, but that one was with my kid.
Yeah.
But we can hold off on that one. My other one would be, hard one. Probably, I don't know, 2020.
Yeah.
That was a good one for me. Cause I woke up late and wasn't feeling good, so I didn't get out of camp until 8:30.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I left camp. It was I do believe like the 4th day into gun season, and I woke up late, wasn't feeling the greatest. We had a little bit of a late night that night, and so yeah, I get to where I'm parked, and I don't know, something kicked at my gear where I was like, I need to get out there. It's
Gotta be
8:30. I mean, I took my time. It was
Wasted time
still
here, Ike.
still dark when I took off, a little dark. And when I got there, I get my stuff ready. I'm like, yeah, this is a pretty decent day today. I better get going. So I'm like, I get to a certain point where I'm like running to the tree stand, and it's 3 miles back there. And I get to the tree stand, and I get to a certain point where I finally just walk down. I'm sweating, get up in the tree stand, and the second I get down in the tree stand, or I get up in the tree stand, I'm standing there, hook my harness back up, and sit back down. The second I sit down, here's this red-headed woodpecker comes down and lands right on my tree right next
Jake's
to me.
Oh,
And
we
Bird.
did not. Come on.
he's sitting
Come
right
on.
here, and he's like, "Hey, Jake."
You're full of it now.
Jake doesn't
You're
know.
full
Jake
of it.
doesn't know I'm here, but
For anybody wondering, my spirit bird is a pileated woodpecker. And Charlie thinks my spirit bird left me and went to him.
well, it's the second time it showed up. But anyways, about half an hour, I did have one come down, fly up, and I videotaped it and stuff, and put the camera back away and look across, and here comes a doe. So I get the camera back out, and I'm
You're like, oh, already? Okay.
right on.
Keep
Well,
me busy.
second I bring the camera down, I checked it with the gun because it was all the way across. And second I shut the camera off, I bring the gun down. The second I bring the gun down, this doe comes over around the corner, and I'm like, "Where'd you come from?" So
Yeah.
I turn the camera back on, and when I turn the camera on, I look at the battery, and the battery's like saying like 15 minutes before it dead. So I'm like, well, I better not film her too much. The second I push the button, he come running around that corner
Yeah.
just on the biggest sprint. He went from 150 yards to 50 yards in like seconds. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, everything just went south after that. Camera went this way. I thought I clicked it a couple different
I hope
times.
it's
Mashed
recording.
potato brain.
Oh
Yeah.
man, it was bad. Well, at the
Had them all
finally,
worked up, bud.
Yeah.
finally he gets up and he gets broadside and he's like staring right at me. The doe's between me and him, and he's just staring right at me. And I literally bury my arm against the tree, and I just
Yeah.
pulled it. That was the worst thing I should have ever done, because it drilled my shoulder against that tree. But
Yeah.
hit that deer. The deer jumps up, takes off, and I hammer him again, and calm down for a minute. Called Jake up. I call everybody up and stuff, and Jake's like, okay. And that when I shot the deer, it was 20 after 10, I think it was.
Mhm.
And so Jake's like, okay, I'm gonna get down and I'll get to you. I said,
Yeah.
okay. Well, he was at the tree stand where he shot his big one this year.
Yep.
And I knew that, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna just get down. I'm gonna walk out, see if I got blood, and walk out.
Yep.
And I'll change my clothes and such, and get out of there. I was gonna sit, and so I get down, I get to the truck, and it's about 11:30, sitting there. About 4 hours later, Jake finally rolls in. But it was a good shot. I did end up hitting it the second time, but it was right here right on the leg.
Yeah.
I did hit it the second time, but perfect little fucking hole right here in the arm.
Okay.
But yeah, but the deer I shot this year with my son for the first time, that was probably
Yeah.
my favorite one. But I don't want to share that one. I don't wanna-
Not the big 8.
Big nine.
Believe it or not, the big
we call
Oh,
them the
the
big
big
8.
eight.
we
Big
called
Eight.
him the big 8. The big 8, I was
He was the big
excited.
8 for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
I was excited, but I was excited to shoot it, but at the same time, I had the same rush when I had my kid with me.
Yeah.
So it's a different feeling
Right.
between the two. You know what I mean? There was the same level, just two different feelings.
Yeah, I shot that 8-point with Brinley laid across my lap when she was
Sleeping.
like 4 or 5 years old. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Lexi and Brinley were actually both in the blind. Lexi was supposed to be filming.
Filming.
And didn't push record, but
Yeah,
who
it's still
cares at
fun.
that point? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's still a cool experience.
Your turn, Alvin.
Oh, you guys know which one my favorite is. That's my booner that I shot in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
That was by far. And you know what? I don't know if I shot a deer in bow season. No, I don't think I did, and I didn't get a deer that rifle season either. So that was the only deer that I killed, but I didn't get it on film. I didn't even have the camera. That was in 2019 when I wasn't filming. So,
Yeah.
but to the point of spirit birds, my spirit bird has always been a cardinal.
Cardinal.
But in Ohio, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's like,
But you also see deer everywhere.
yeah.
So-
My spirit bird. Yeah, you do. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, but Tony had shot his buck at like 9:30, and I said, all right, if you can wait till 10:30, I'll get down and I'll go help you. And I went over there, I helped him. We got it all, he already had it gutted, but when I got there, we quartered it up and everything, and got it packed up and into the game bags and everything. And I was gonna help him walk it out, and he's like, no, I got all day to get this out. Why don't you go get back in your tree? I'm like, okay. So I went back to my tree. I got back up in my tree. I think I remember eating like a granola bar or something. I was back in there for like 20 minutes, and I'm like, all of a sudden I started looking. This is the 4th year I'd been down there, and I'd always looked at this one spot, and I'm like, man, I could see like the drainage and everything. I'm like, God, that's got to be good. I just want to go give it a shot. I was like, and I think at that point it was like, I want to say like a little after noon.
Mhm.
Almost 1 o'clock maybe. And so I get down, I tear my stuff down. I was using Lone Wolf Alpha setup with the sticks and everything. So I got that packed down, got all packed up, and I walked. It was probably about, it took me about a half hour to get over there. I had to go down the ridge, cross that marsh and that beaver dam, and then find a spot to set up. Never walked over there yet. But just looking at it on topographical features and everything, I was like, this is a good spot where not only does the two drainages come down on both sides, right there, but there's also water on what would have been the east side of that beaver dam or that creek where I crossed, and it's deep water. Deer aren't going to cross there, so they were going to cross basically right in front of me. And so I get my tree stand all set up, I get in the tree, and I'm sitting there for maybe 45 minutes, and I remember I looked at my phone. It was like 1:47, and I know at least 10, 15 minutes had gone by. And I hear something. I remember it was kind of windy, but I hear something coming. And I look up the drainage, and here's this deer coming towards me, and I can see its antlers through all these thick, the thickets, because it's right down at the bottom where the marsh meets the ridge, and it's a tall ridge. So he's down at the bottom right there, and he's just skirting through the thick stuff. And I'm like looking at this thing, and I'm like, is this seriously as big as I'm looking, or what is going on here? And finally it steps out, and it's just a giant. I mean, just stupid big. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I haven't even been in the stand like what, a half hour, 45 minutes. Broad daylight, middle of the day, and I figured
Sun beaten down.
I figured it was probably around 2 o'clock, 2:10, the time frame in which I shot it. And so, anyways, not to give too much away, but it starts working its way towards me, and I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna happen. He's coming right down the run, and he's gonna, I'm gonna be able to shoot him exactly where I looked, and was like, if a deer's on this runway, I can hit him from that tree. It was like a 35, 40-yard shot, but I knew from right there I could hit him, but there was some other stuff on the other side of me that looked really good. And actually, where he was walking towards, I was dropping milkweed, and it was going right towards that beaver pond. I'm assuming because of the thermals. But it was a little bit windy that day, so I'm not 100% sure. Irregardless, so he's walking down that trail, and he gets to where I think he got my ground scent, a whiff of my ground scent, and he stops. And he's at, when I ranged him at that point, he was at 32 yards. And I put my rangefinder down, and he stops, and then he's starting to get a little squirrely. He's doing this little thing right here where he's like, all right, I smell something. He's looking around, can't see me. I'm covered pretty good. Well, he doesn't like spook, but he's like, nah, I don't think I'm going to go that way. He turns and starts walking off, like his rear end like facing me, and he gets about 5, maybe 6 yards away, but then he turns again, like almost perfect, like perfectly
We're outside.
broadside. And so I draw back my bow, and then he continues like turning a little bit, like he wasn't done looking, trying to look for what he thought he was smelling. And so he's slightly quartered to, and I remember sending that arrow, and I remember it just blowing right through him, right where I needed it to go. If anything, it was a touch low, but I mean, it was perfect, like maybe 4 inches behind the shoulder blade, and it was like right at that lower third. And I saw that was actually shot. I shot that with a rage, but I remember that arrow going through him, and I still vividly remember the hair, like the dark spot in the hair, like opening up, and I'm like, dude, I got him. Well, he runs out into the marsh, and I can see him bounding up and down. I'm like, dude, just go down. Well, then I see him kind of like the last time come down. I could see the tip of his antlers going through the tag holders. And I'm like, all right, I didn't see him go down. I didn't hear him going down. I'm not moving because I know how this goes. You get out, and he ran towards where I came from, where I was originally hunting.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, there's no way that's, I'm going after him. So I texted Charlie and I texted Tony and I said, listen, dude, I just shot a monster. Like, I was telling them, I'm like, this is a 170-inch deer. Like, and then Tony, he doesn't, I don't think he
I
really
have zero
knows.
service. I don't know nothing until I come out of the woods.
Yeah. But Tony did get my text. So I go out at dark and I get down.
What was that sit like from then until
It was
dark?
terrible. It was terrible. I had to do everything to keep myself busy because at this time I thought he was down in the marsh, maybe like 200 yards away at the farthest. So I'm sitting there and like it's finally getting towards dark. I'm like, all right, I can get down, at least take a look at my arrow. I get down there, arrow looks good. I start following the blood a little bit. Blood looks good. I'm like, God, I wanted so bad just to start going. I'm like, no, I'm going to sneak out of here. But so from the time I had shot him to the time that I got out of the tree, it had been about 3.5, 4 hours, And where I thought I hit him, where it looked like where I hit him, I figured that was plenty of time. But, never not seeing him go down, not hearing him go down, you always kind of think in the back of your head, especially a deer that size, who knows? Maybe he'd been hit before and he knows the protocol. But I get down, I go across the beaver pond, and, I get back on the one trail that I used to access the area, and I go all the way out, and I meet Tony. Well, Charlie ends up coming out, and that's when I told him. I was like, dude, I just shot. I swear to God, it's a 170-inch deer. I was like, it's huge. So they're like, all right, Charlie's pumped, Tony's pumped for me, and put our stuff down. We head back in there. Well, we go all the way to where it's funny because I walked across his blood trail 2 times, and actually technically 3 times on the way out. But we go to the marsh, and we're following the blood trail, and it's all good blood. It was good blood, but it got hard because it was in, we go through like grass, and then we go through thickets, and then dry grass, and then, green grass and stuff, and then we started getting onto dirt. And before you know it, we were probably about 300 yards into the track, and it started raining. And it was going to downpour all night, and it did.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, listen, I was like, we haven't pushed him. He hasn't tried bedded down or anything like that. I said, this deer's probably dead right now. So the only thing that's going to suck is, we got to do a body search tomorrow. So we did. I spent the night. But, dude, in the back of my head, the whole night, I'm like, I smoked that deer. I did. I smoked that deer.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's just running a little farther than I thought, And me and Tony went in there the next morning, and I said, listen, he went into this drainage. I said, you take the left side, I take the right side. Leave no stone unturned. I said, they will try running right up under the thickest stuff imaginable. They'll go bury themselves in a hole or, you know how that country is.
Yeah.
They will bury themselves in anything. So Tony did exactly that. We only looked for maybe 45 minutes, and I was on one side of the drainage halfway up the ridge, and Tony's like, I found him. Dude, I probably would have broke a leg 9 times out of 10 running the way I did down that drainage and back up the other side to get to him. No, I'm serious. Dude, I was running, jumping over boulders like I was parkour, and I finally got up there, and I was just blown away. He was even bigger than
What you thought?
what I thought. It
Yeah.
was stupid. And, yeah, we ended up cornering him out. And the funny thing was is Charlie was hunting the whole day, didn't
No
have
service.
service.
I
He
told-
doesn't know any of this is happening.
Well, I told him, I said, if you find them, just let me know, because there's a certain point where we break off. Or if, I told him, I said, if you find them, I want you to yell. I don't give a shit. Just yell or whistle. I'll hear you.
I
Okay.
don't want to ruin something.
No, they forgot. They didn't want to ruin my hunt, so they just kept going. And believe it or not, I had a great day of vocals and deer. Never saw a deer, but I fucking heard them running around. It was a good day for me.
Yeah.
So I was like pumped right up. I was like, it's a good day. So I get out there and I'm hoping to see headlamps at where I meet these guys. So I sit there. No, like, oh, hey, little mark on the trail or something saying they're out. And I'm like, I'm just going to walk out to the truck. I'll just take my time. So I was just taking my time, just thinking maybe I'll meet them or they'd catch up to me or something. No, get all the way out to the truck, and I could see him sitting in the truck. And
He's got a topper on the back of his truck.
yeah. So I get out there, and I'm like, well, they ain't getting out of the truck. They don't look too fucking pumped up or anything. So I'm like, this is some bad news. Whatever. Elvin gets out with his head down like this. So I'm looking at Elvin, okay? I'm like looking right at him, and Elvin's just like, somebody
Straight
just
face.
took his
Frickin'
soul
Emmy
right
Award,
out.
man.
And I'm like, it looks like somebody just took his soul and just ripped it out of him. I'm like, oh, man, dude, I'm so sorry. I opened my topper like this and dropped the tailgate, and the horn just go, not just like flipped right out. I was like, holy
Fall right over his tip, dude.
dude, it literally fell right in my lap. He had it set on there so perfect where it went. I would have saw it if I had just looked, but I was paying attention to him and seeing his actions. You know what I mean? Like, is this going to be one of them nights where we're going to be just trash tonight? Or
Gotta forget some stuff.
so I opened so I'm not paying attention like that, and he had it set just perfect where the horn's like literally right there.
Dude, he about jumped into my arms.
Oh, I was fired right up.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the crazy part about the whole thing. He gets home, or we get up. I don't know. Was it that night or the second night or something? Somebody messages him.
Yeah.
He's got trail cam pictures of that buck.
For like the last 2 years.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, oh, man. Yeah, some guy from Pennsylvania. He had him on trail camera, has property in Ohio in the area that we hunt.
How
And-
far do you know? Like,
I don't know.
You don't know
Yeah, I
exactly
didn't
where he
ask
was
it. But
at.
yeah, he had velvet pictures of him. He had him right when he...
it'd have been cool to know
Shut
how
his
far
mouth
he
up.
was. You know,
Yeah.
like if he was right there close somewhere, or
Well-
if he traveled quite a bit.
When I didn't tell him where I shot him, but I told him that I have to walk like over 2 miles to get there. He's like, wow, you're going back pretty far. Or no, I told him I shot him on public land, and he said, you must be going back really far. So I think he knows, like, okay, there's only one way to access where this deer was living.
So he owned a piece of private.
That was probably, at the top of those drainages or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, he was every bit as big as he was the year before. You know, he just gained some mass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nice, just giant. But craziest thing was me and Tony, we sat down and scored him, and he came out to 171 and an eighth, and then he netted 162 and it was like 3/8 or something. Well, when I had him officially scored by Boone and Crockett, I was only 1/8 off on the gross.
Yeah.
It was 171. No, I take it back. I grossed him at 171 and 3/8. He netted 171 or 162 and some odd eighths. But when the official scoring took place, his official gross was 171 and an eighth, and then 162 flat
Okay.
on the net.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just you don't really, if you've never seen deer that size at 30 yards or 35 yards, you don't know. You're like, what's going on here? Like we see deer here in Michigan that they look like nice bucks, like, you know, proportion wise to their body and everything, they look like nice deer. You shoot them, whatever, and they end up being 120-inch deer,
Yeah.
right? No. When you have 171 inches of bone in your hand, it's just like, I remember being there just thinking, like, how the hell?
Makes the deer look small.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember some of the pictures I posted, people were just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But it was just, a freak of a buck.
And the deer Tony shot was a nice deer.
Yeah, I would never pass that deer
But
up that
when
Tony
you put
shot.
it next to Elvin's big buck,
Yeah.
you can.
Yeah, I don't know if they could see that on the camera if you showed it. But yeah, well, we got to catch up on some of these chats here.
Mm-hmm.
We got quite a bit of stuff here. Bush Light, the official beer of Deer Camp. Amen. Did you get that copy I sent you guys of the Deer Camp survey from the UP? I don't think so. Was it by email or was it a message? Alex asked, did you guys find any oaks dropping up there this past season, or did you have concentrate majority sits based on clear cuts? Yeah, there was no acorns up here.
Absolutely none.
None.
There was a few early on, but I think the deer had them made up.
Yeah, they had them made
before.
up before it was probably even bow season.
Yeah.
So, greetings from Poland. Dude, those are my people. Yes. Guys, what is this in your cans? It's beer? Yes, it is beer.
Bear. Bush Light.
We are from Michigan, northern Lower Peninsula, like the Gaylord area.
Yep.
Sam P, I don't remember seeing a pic. Can you hold up a pic of your phone? I'm assuming he means of my buck.
Mm-hmm.
You're a little dinker.
Oh, dinker. Pretty crazy to think I may have already killed the biggest buck I'll ever kill in my life.
Yeah, better
You
ones.
got time.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, I could still get the job done.
I mean, look at that. That's Tony's
It's
buck
just,
next
yeah.
to his.
All right, I'll hold
Jake.
up the phone. This is the deer just laying on the ground, and that is the entrance that you guys are seeing right there. And that's my booner I shot in Ohio. Yeah. There's a picture of me holding them.
Gigantua.
It's giant. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I think he was going home.
And then 2 years later, Tony shoots just a giant as well.
Yep. Yeah, that was him in October 2nd of 2018. That was one of the pictures that got sent to me.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was him in end of October. So that was probably a couple weeks before I shot him.
Okay.
And then that was the summer before I shot him.
Okay.
It's just a giant. It's crazy. Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, Sam, we didn't have acorns last year neither. If I can recall, it's been 2
It's-
years in a row pretty much. dry.
2020 was a good year.
Yeah, 2020 was a good year, so it's understandable. The
Yeah.
deer trees are going to go nearly dormant in the next 2. Presque County. We had 0 acorns. Yeah. Yeah, that was a nice deer, Sam. I don't know if I'll ever kill another one like that, but we'll see.
Says he sent it by email.
Send it to your email. Thought you would like to read it. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. Keep up the great work, boys. Sorry I didn't get mine on film. You'll get it next year, Tommy. Alvin D. Style, still guide for elk? Yes, I do guide for elk, mainly in the December hunt. I won't be fall elk guiding, but if you know anyone that needs an elk guide for the fall, get a hold of Jake here. I'm doing the winter hunt, but I got a bear tag for the UP, so I'm not letting elk hunt get in the way of that. Yeah. Oh, so I don't know. Okay. Yeah, get a hold of me, man. We'll go elk hunting. I don't know if you guys saw this, but did you see that there was and I don't want to get too political or anything like that, but I think it was the Michigan Deer Hunter page or whatever shared an article where there was a politician from the UP or whatever that he was basically explaining how introducing wolves into the northern lower peninsula would decrease or help with chronic wasting disease. I commented, I'm like, well, I'm sure it will, because there ain't going to be no deer to catch or transmit the disease.
Yeah, that would definitely fix
That would do it.
CWD.
He's not lying.
No.
I don't think they'd last long down here, anyways.
No.
Any clue on how many points guys are drawing with now? It's hit and miss. I mean, I've known people that have drawn on the first try, and I've known people that have been applying for 30 years. Just,
Yeah, my grandpa's one of them.
yeah, literally is the luck of the draw.
Yeah.
So,
Well, even our dads have been.
what part of the
applying
UP?
since
I
it's been
usually hunt
point
up by
system.
Escanaba. Been going up there since 2013. You get a bear tag every other year, every 2 years, depending on how many people are applying. But go up there and hunt. Or put them down in Wayne County. Absolutely. Yeah, and if they want wolves in the lower peninsula, they can send them down to Lansing or Detroit. See how they like them down there. You guys think the lack of acorns last year is due to the gypsy moth? It could be. I mean, the last few years we've had a bad wave of them. I know when I'm going out looking at tree work in the summertime, it blows my mind to see some of the trees that have already lost their leaves.
Yeah.
Because of them gypsy moths. So
Yeah, you get into those big cherry flats,
yeah, yep.
and they love those cherry
Eat
trees.
the hell out of them. I can think of like 5 spots out in the Pigeon where it's just loaded with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what it must be. The choke cherries that attracts them. I don't know.
I don't know. Do you think y'all applying for any points for tags out of state hunts? Iowa, Kansas. I've hunted Kansas. I do plan on going back. When I don't know, because I enjoy going to Ohio so much.
I'm putting in for Kansas.
Yeah, I've got like 5 points for Iowa, but honestly, I don't know. I know that I'd be going there by myself, and I'd rather go to like a deer camp in Ohio with these guys, and could I go to Iowa and have a blast? Yeah, but
Well, everybody's been talking about how Kansas is like not a every year kind of tag anymore, and a lot of them are it's going to like
yeah,
not
you got
getting
it.
them.
You've always had to apply.
Yeah,
usually,
but
and
it's
usually you
usually-
got to apply in April.
So I'm applying this April, so for Kansas, just
So if you draw a tag next year, what time would you go?
not sure. I might even go early season. Depends on how work is besides Ohio.
yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
true.
I'd have to depend on work, but
Other than Ohio, my next out of state hunt's a lion hunt.
That would be cool.
I'm taking the hounds. Going to shoot a lion.
yeah, that'd be
Out
pretty
west.
cool. No, even if I have to go by myself, I'll go out there. Just
I have
to
8
see
points
how
for
it is.
Wyoming elk.
Do you?
Yeah, waiting on a certain unit. Actually,
Yeah.
it's out by where I lived when I lived out there. Takes like 11 points to get it though. But the
You're up there on points in Iowa too, aren't you? How many points?
5 points in Iowa. I could draw a tag in Iowa this year if I wanted. But like I said, I'm not. Honestly, like I am really looking forward to going back to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I want to go to Wisconsin. Like that the challenging hunts, the ones where like, when me and Tony and Justin went to Ontario, boated in, camped remotely on an island, and I shot it with my muzzleloader, like that 10-point I shot. That's what does it for me.
Yeah.
I get a kick out of like
That
hard
one's
ones.
probably one of my favorite
Mm-hmm.
storylines,
Yeah.
as far as your out of state hunts.
Yeah,
Like, I think I told you from the beginning, if I was going to go somewhere,
Ontario.
I wanted to go.
Well, can you
to
also
Canada.
imagine like the last 3 years, Americans haven't been able to go up there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this would be the year
Know
to go.
What's going on up there right now?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I would, and that was we left on, it was like Halloween night.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, yeah, it was like Halloween night that we left, and I shot that buck on like November 3rd or 4th. I think
So
it's-
what would you do different going back there?
Not camped.
I would camp closer to where the boat is, because then you can shuttle people to wherever you want to go. But you're not walking anywhere in the dark. You're waking up at the crack of dawn, having your coffee, do what you got to do, then you go out hunt. what I did was I would go sit on certain spots, like little points, where 2 points from an island would meet, and like deer would have to cross that marsh. I saw a couple deer doing that. Um, Actually, the spot where I shot mine, there was one spot that I saw from the satellite imagery. There's like a little trail going from one point to another across the marsh. The only deceiving thing is the grass there is a lot taller than ours. Mm-hmm. It's like chest height. And I didn't realize that looking at satellite imagery. I mean, you wouldn't be able to until you actually get there and lay eyes on it. I would move around. I think I did it the right way. I don't bring a tree stand unless you really want to. I hunted from the ground, mm-hmm. and I just get somewhere where I have a good vantage point. I do some rattling. I think I did it the right way. I ended up killing my buck on the third midday at 1:30 in the afternoon on the third day that I hunted there.
Mm-hmm. It was a nice buck, dude.
It was a nice buck. Yeah.
Perfect.
Nice chocolate
Perfect
10
everything.
point.
What's crazy is how much it looks like that 110 point I killed that's on my wall.
Yeah.
Like, obviously that deer was bigger, but frame-wise, in color and the way the tines, his twos are a little bit shorter than his threes,
Yep.
Just, if you put those two bucks together, you'd swear that the buck I killed in Michigan was shot a year ahead of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite hunts. And also, like I said, Wisconsin. I've been there twice. I was there once in the end of October, and then I went back last year. It was like the last week of September. And I've seen deer every time. It was a little harder when I went last year just because no acorns have been dropping. Mm-hmm. All the beans were still in the field. They were still,
I wouldn't mind going to Wisconsin.
Yeah, midday, I'd be driving, around just kind of like looking at stuff, and it's like 80 degrees out. I'm driving around looking through fields and everything, and there's like 30 deer out in a bean field, and I'm like looking at, well, if they're up there in the middle of the day, like they're not following a certain travel pattern or anything. Mm-hmm. Where I had hunted in the late October, the year I went there in late October, I planned on going back to those spots because there was a couple small islands out on these big marshes, and they were all had all acorns on them. Mm-hmm. So it was whether or not there was going to be acorns on them. That's what I wanted answered. But when I showed up there was 2 bear hunters there. They were hunting over bait, and I'm like, dude, I don't know how long it takes to get a bear tag here, but if I was, in Michigan here, it takes 8 years to get a
I think Wisconsin's worse. I think
it might be.
I went to Wisconsin and bear hunted with some guys, and I want to say it was 11 or 12 points to draw a bear tag.
Yeah, and here I was with an over-the-counter archery tag, so I was just like, well, I'm not hunting back there. There was 2 of them. I ran into the one guy. He was a really cool dude. He's like, you're here deer hunting? And I'm like, yeah. Like what are you hunting for, And he whips his gun out of the back of his truck. He's like, I'm bear hunting. I'm like, okay. I was like, well, I'm not going to mess around back here then. But I went and bounced around, and I tried actually one thing that I wanted to. I got into a river bottom that had, you could tell it had flooded a couple times throughout the summer because the weeds, the vegetation on the ground in there had been bent over from water. Mm-hmm. And there was a couple high spots in there. And I'm like, oh, dude, those are going to be sweet areas for bedding. So I went in there, and actually I ended up bumping a deer. And but I got down in there and just looking at it, it was pretty sweet. I will go back and do that again. Mm-hmm. Early season, I don't know, but I will be going back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was cool. The fleas. How do you get rid of fleas?
Burn. Fucking. Who asked that? Trying to get caught up here.
Any of you ever hunted up near Inspiration Point in the Pigeon River State Land area? Yeah, I mean, we hunt all over in that area. I've been elk hunting, bird hunting, turkey hunting all over the LeGrand Ranch area. No, I'm not familiar with the LeGrand Ranch area. It was Ray. have you seen more pressure on public land up there in the last few years since it's become popular? No, because honestly, the people it was popular here
Hunted
before it was
the
popular.
LeGrand, haven't you?
No,
Yeah, you have.
where is it?
Way north.
Oh yeah.
That's the LeGrand.
Oh, I didn't know that's what they called it.
Yeah, it's called the LeGrand Ranch.
Yeah, absolutely. I've hunted up there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
That's
I've hunted up
really
there.
cool property.
Yep.
Really cool chunk of ground up there.
Yeah,
I don't think there's another piece of state land
that I know
has
that
that
gets
terrain
hunted
feature.
pretty
You
hard,
know what
though.
I mean? Like, it's a completely different terrain than
yeah,
anything else that I've seen in Michigan.
yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, I'll actually. It's a lot like some of that Wolfgang country.
Yeah, but everything's like cattle affected.
Yeah,
You know, like the popple thickets and
Yeah.
stuff. Like you can actually see through them.
but it's cool elk country.
Yeah, really cool elk
Yeah.
country. Yeah.
But I think back to that one question, you know, I mean, the pressure of public land. I really don't think so. Not in the last couple of years.
Yeah, honestly, Whitetail Warriors, not much the DNR does make sense. I'm sure they have a reason for doing it. We're just not privy to all the reasons that they do it, unfortunately. It's politics. There's bureaucrats and politicians that run our state and DNR, so you have to imagine that it's not going to run with full common sense. So as long as you can accept that, you know, just appreciate what we have for, you know, for now, and you know, try to make it better, and just keep introducing people in there, you know, to hunting and fishing that know and can learn that how you know, how these traditions can be passed on, how important they are. That's the biggest thing. I like they say, the only way to how do you tell if a politician's lying? It's because his mouth is moving, his or hers. That's exactly it. Unfortunately, they're not making decisions based off of a deer herd in general. I mean, usually there's a financial obligation to gain or something. I don't know. That's the nicest way that I can put that.
Yeah.
You know, so got a couple more in there. Let's see the acorns. I think we covered all those questions. You see much a difference in quality of hunting in the APR counties compared to others up there? Yeah, there's a little bit of a difference. I wouldn't say I see more buck. Me personally, I wouldn't say I see more bucks, but when I do see bucks, you know, they're usually a little bit better, a little bit more mature, better age structure, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point of the APRs. So.
Yeah. I like the APRs. I think they work.
Yeah, I mean, if they wanted to go with a statewide APR, like it wouldn't hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
If the majority of hunters, if we were able to, came out and voted and said we all want, or the majority of us want APRs, I'd be fine with it. If the majority of them said we don't want APRs, I'd be fine with it.
And then you got the issue that's with the youth hunters. I think anyone under 16 should be exempt from APRs.
100%. I agree with that.
Statewide APRs.
Well, then you'll get
exempt.
most people saying, well, then, you know, guys are going to be going out shooting deer and then saying it's their kids. Well, you get that already
Yeah,
anyways.
you're already gonna have that.
You're already going to have that. So,
Yeah.
So you see a lot more big deer on my camera. Yeah, you definitely get a lot more mature bucks on camera. There's probably a little bit better competition. I hunt both the APR and non-APR counties. I doubt we'll ever see them in the I-75 corridor.
No.
You know, but you know, it's nice that we have the Northwest 12, and then it was nice when they, you know, 482 or Montmorency was APRs, but they've since done away with that for whatever reason. Yeah, actually, Colin, we have a deer drive that'll be in episode 4. We did a whole video on Thanksgiving morning on our deer drive, so it doesn't take up the entire video. I think it was the first 12 to 15 minutes of it out of that, you know, 40-some minute video. But yeah, we'll definitely. We have a deer drive coming up on that, so. And we usually do it every year, but we just never thought to film it. I mean, number one, not a lot of people actually like seeing the deer drives.
Right.
They, if they don't understand them, if they don't understand, that there are a set of rules that we all go over, we all, check ourselves and, make sure we're doing things the right way. It just looks like a bunch of guys walking through the woods shooting at stuff, and
Right.
it couldn't be further from the truth. It's far more coordinated and strategic than that.
And it's more than a drive, you know what I mean? It's a family thing. It's
Yeah.
like it's a
It's a
thing
tradition.
that we do every Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Rain, shine, summer. If it's 80 degrees out, and if it's negative fucking 20 out, we're still doing
Yeah.
it no matter what. I mean, it's a family thing.
Yeah, deer drives are fun.
But, you know what I mean? We're just getting into me and Jake, we're just getting into the GoPro
Yeah.
thing, you know what I mean? So we're trying to do more of that. So that's
Yeah.
probably another reason we didn't really do it.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to figure out a different way to do that, because I know what you guys will see on the video that's coming up with that is, I had it on my chest. I had the GoPro on my chest, and you can't see a lot, but I mean, you can see what's going on. You can see, basically the operation. But yeah, we'll definitely have more cameras in the woods for future deer drives. So, they're hard as hell to kill, but they are definitely around. Bigger deer, I'm assuming, is what Sam's
Yep.
talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, we have big deer up here. Obviously, we have our years. You guys both killed giants this year.
And mature
4.5
bucks.
plus
Good
year
mature
old bucks.
bucks,
Good
yeah.
mature bucks, yeah. And it doesn't happen every year, and it's hard enough to find one, let alone actually get to a position where you can kill it. But
So this is the
it's a
first
fun
year
time.
that I've had a buck that I actually really, really wanted to hunt.
Yeah.
Besides since the drop time buck.
We're
The
talking
buck-
about the frozen trigger buck?
Yeah,
Yeah, that lit that fire.
yeah. That's like I'm
Right.
back to that point.
Well,
Like,
it's a good
obviously he's-
feeling.
He's not the drop time buck, but
He'll do.
I
he'll-
mean,
he'll
it's
do.
it's a good feeling, though,
Yeah,
to have.
yeah.
You can't be too picky, Jacob.
Huh?
Can't be too picky.
No,
He
can't be
wasn't.
too picky.
He did shoot a big buck this year, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's not being picky
the first
at all.
one was just out of spite.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're still thinking, what, 2.5, 3
Well,
years?
it's because I messaged you and said you need to break the ice, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be in episode 3. Everyone will get to see that in episode 3. Jake does get to redeem himself.
Mhm.
Hey, Jake, it must have been a bummer having your rifle screw up on that big buck. I felt bad for you when I watched that video.
Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it. It sucked.
I got that
Yeah.
Kleenex right here. Do you need it?
No.
Oh, it
Yeah.
must be that wood chip again in your
It's
eye.
a wood chip in my
That
eye.
wood chip.
Yeah, he'll be bigger next year.
Yeah, that's the only way you can look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Seen him alive in December
Yeah,
in person. Had a picture of him on the,
nice to see you again.
I think the 18th of December. I had a trail camera picture of him,
So he hung out in that area.
and that was the last I seen of him.
Mm-hmm.
He probably went home for the winter.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully.
Or shut out.
Yeah, could have.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah,
'Cause I did have other deer on camera that I'm sure are shed bucks.
yeah. Yeah, he probably went and wintered somewhere. Alex asked, whatever came of the drop time buck. Well, I think we covered that on the last one, but Jake, I don't know if you want to retell that.
Yeah, so apparently somebody found him dead. It would have been the same year that I had pictures of him in the daylight, which I don't even remember what year that was.
I wanna s-
2016, 2017.
I think it was 2017.
So 2017, I found his
Yeah.
little hideaway. Had a bunch of daylight pictures of him. And then that spring, it said that a guy found him dead about 2 miles or so, the way the crow flies from where we had all the pictures of him. So yeah, and it lines up because we never seen him again after that.
Yeah. Yep, he was gone. Okay. Here Dan sent the UP Deer Survey. 2022 UP Deer Survey. Let's see what this is. If it'll load. I only got 2 bars LTE here. It's gonna let us know when he comes up. Yeah. So I think going into like episode 3, trying to remember 5 episodes that were 40 minutes long. Ooh, yeah, that's a long survey.
The third one, that's when the action really gets going.
Yeah, the third one is really when it starts going. It's
Yeah, deer start to die.
and it only gets better.
Mhm.
I rewatched the 5th one today,
Yeah.
like 4 times.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'd say the last like 20 minutes of it,
Yeah.
basically his buck kill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone ever count the F bombs on that episode? On
Which one?
Which one? Oh, from
frozen
your
trigger.
frozen trigger.
Frozen Trigger.
Yeah, that was a
Well,
full-time job blocking that
Well, you're
stuff.
supposed to. You could probably turn it into a drinking game.
Probably. Let's make this interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets thrown out.
I can
there a
tell you
couple
one
times.
thing, Bill. There'd have been a lot more F bombs if I didn't have that camera rolling,
I know my phone blew up with them.
and a few other choice words.
Yeah. That was not pretty.
I might even be able to bring it up.
You probably could.
I don't know. I might have deleted
Yeah,
them.
so today's Friday night. We just got a bunch of rain up here, which means a lot of snow got melted. I'm hoping that more snow gets melted because I need to get out and do some spring scouting. Yeah, this is a long survey. I'm going to have to take a look at that. Yeah, read that tonight. Probably share that with you guys. Got in here. That about cleaned up those questions.
I think we're caught up.
Yeah, I think we're caught up. Yeah, so I guess I don't know. We want to touch on like the podcasts and stuff. I know we mentioned a little bit earlier, but that's going to be coming out on Monday nights. So Charlie and Jake are going to be kind of taking the reins on that. But we'll be coming out with episodes every Monday. We already got the first one that we did last night. That's scheduled for
Monday.
this Monday. It's going to be on Spotify. It's going to be on Spreaker. It's going to be on Apple or iTunes, and it'll also be on Google. And then I just uploaded it. Well, I'm in the process of uploading it right now to the YouTube channel where people can view or watch it. It's just a podcast, but
And we're gonna video. You know, what I mean, last night we did videotape, but from here on out we're gonna videotape it. So
yeah, because we do have a whiteboard. We're going to end up breaking down a couple hunts so that way people can kind of see what patterns we're looking for and how we put together a strategy and execute on that. I think that's the most important thing when you're talking to people about deer hunting is you have to find a way to relate it to them, and because deer act differently throughout, different parts of the season. You're going to use different patterns and strategies to kill deer. I think people get too far wrapped into one tactic, whether it be scrape hunting a rub line, hunting food, or hunting, beds. I think they get too wrapped up into those when they should be able to be a little bit more flexible and learn to identify
Hunt
different
what's there.
patterns. Yeah, hunt what's there.
There's lots of times here where you can't find that perfect scrape line.
Right.
You can't find that perfect rub line. You can't find that doe. The buck bedding.
Yeah.
That identified. Pronounced buck bedding.
Yeah.
So you gotta just kind of hunt what's there.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, how many times have you left the woods and said, I like that spot, but I just wasn't seeing enough of what I wanted to see.
Right.
Not to say it's not good, but at that point in time, there wasn't enough sign for you to put together a pattern that you felt confident with.
Right.
Yeah.
and we're, this podcast is gonna bring us back. We'll be able to group up and talk about our scouting and stuff that we're gonna be doing here in the next couple weeks, next month, and
Yeah.
stuff. But another thing is if anybody has that a secret hunter that's might be out in New York or Michigan that you don't hear too much about, or throw them our way. We're gonna talk to them. The guy that you don't listen to too much.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna get those big names, but we want them little names where they're just
Killers.
just killers. We want to talk to them, talk about how they how their details and how they go into their hunts and stuff, and hear it from them guys more. So if you guys got a name or something, throw it out there, and we'll look them up, and maybe we can get them on. But
Yeah, and anything as far as that goes.
Bear,
whatever
cats,
you guys
lions.
want to see, just let
I'll
us
even
know.
I'll even talk on some trout fishing or some big water fishing.
Yeah,
I love
Mhm.
that.
all
What's-
ears.
What's the biggest weight buck you've seen in Michigan dressed? That I've seen in person, I think was like 180.
it was
So the buck I killed this year was 189 dressed.
Yeah.
my dad's Thanksgiving buck. It's the one that's mounted right next to his dad's bear.
Yeah.
So Thanksgiving buck, and it was 205.
Nice.
That thing was huge.
Yeah, it's a big body
So
deer.
the
especially
biggest,
for
the
northern
biggest
Michigan.
bodied deer I ever shot was the one in muzzleloader season at 9 Point a few years ago.
Oh, is it?
yeah.
And I never did weigh it because we were leaving for Jamaica
Yeah.
the next morning. I actually ended up taking it to the processor.
Yeah.
And they hung it up from their rack, to wheel it into the walk-in cooler.
Mhm.
And you end up having to cut the neck off from it because the neck was dragging on the ground hanging from the rack.
Yeah.
And he told me, he's like, I've seen Canadian deer that do that. He said,
Yeah.
but I've never seen a Michigan buck
Yeah.
do that. But yeah, I didn't weigh it. Wished I would have to know, but
Mhm.
it's a brute.
What was your take on the DNR mandatory check-in now? I'm all for it. Took them about 10 years too long. Yeah, I'm fine with them. I'm fine with the check-in. I think that we need to record our numbers. I think when you record your numbers, it holds you a little bit more liable as an organization or, an organization that is to oversee something. You got to know your numbers. It's like anything else in life. The only thing I didn't agree with was sharing the location where you shot the deer. I'm cool with sharing what county, and whether it was public or private, but the whole GPS location thing, I think I'm in agreement with a lot of people that I didn't really like offering that information.
That, and I don't think there should be a time limit on it.
Yeah,
I think
I
the
don't really agree with-
72-hour time limit's pointless. I don't.
Yeah,
Maybe 10 days or something. But
Yeah, 10 days. But
yeah,
all the fur bears, the bobcats and the otters, you have until 10 days after the season
yeah,
to register them.
Yeah.
What difference does it make if they have that information within 72 hours of you killing the deer, or if
Right.
they have that information by the end of the deer season?
yeah, yeah. I'd like to hear an explanation
That
on
ju-
that.
to me, it just seems like a trap to get people in trouble. To
Yeah.
write a ticket,
Yeah. Big Lake fished quite a bit. Would love to see a Q&A on the Big Lake. Yeah, I'll do one. I love my lake trout. We don't get a lot of salmon up here until usually when they're spawning, getting ready to spawn. That's usually in later August, so you're not going to see salmon numbers on, up here, like out of the Petoskey, Rogers City ports till, usually August. But it's not like fishing, Muskegon or Benton Harbor or even Frankfurt for that matter. Traverse County would be a guy I would like to hear from. I think he may be beholden to another media company. Not sure. Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of crossover. I know a lot of people that, oh, we got a cupcake in here. Person, stop hunting.
I wonder who that could be.
I don't know.
Megan again.
Might be Megan. Same here. I shot both my bucks at road intersection according to my map. Yeah, I don't blame you. Alex, most of my friends reported their deer at the local bar. No joke. Good.
That's good.
Good.
Well, Kevin from Deer Hunter Podcast, he put his on the Lansing building.
Yeah, right on the DNR Lansing building. That was funny.
Tim Bennon shot that 181 on public land here last season.
Grand Traverse.
Was that the
County.
non-typical, Sam? Pretty sure that was that non-typical.
On the-
I remember seeing a picture of it. Real heavy, gnarly looking buck.
Yeah.
See that one. Ray.
Oh yeah. Yeah, those are some dandies. Those are some dandies, Ray.
Mm-hmm. Brow tines on that one.
Like some of those dandy
Mhm.
Michigan bucks. Oh
Nice
hell
one.
yeah. Yeah, that's APR area for sure. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm all for APRs if it's not going to hurt hunter participation. You know, I think that within a few years of doing it, you know, people can get on board. I am a vegan.
We said
You
Megan.
sound so entertaining. You sound like a vegan. Cupcake might cry us another river we can fish in. Yep. Load that up with trout and we'll catch them all
And eat them.
and eat them.
It can't be Adam or Jammer because I don't think they know how to use a computer.
I don't think so either. It could be just, I mean, there are like bots out there, but those are pretty generic responses, so.
Yeah.
And they're very coordinated if you look at them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, hunting is
my
the number one way to manage any population of animals. You want to talk about vegan and your tofu and all your soy, look at all the land that gets ripped apart and all the animals that are killed in the process of farming all that. But you turn a blind eye to that when someone's trying to kill one deer that'll feed his family for a month or so. So I try. But sometimes you can't save those who don't care. No? Keep fighting the good fight. Cheers. Cheers.
Thanks for the views.
Deer are vegan.
Yeah, I just shoot the animals that are eating your food.
Yeah, if it wasn't for us, you'd run out of vegetables.
Yep. Hunting's also the number one way to make sure it's a tasty meal, too. Yeah, and you know where your food's coming from. Yeah, go look in your soy latte or tofu sandwich or whatever and tell me where that came from.
Well, thank God we got the camera pointed this way, not the other way around.
Yeah, because there's
There's a few things around
we
this
got
one.
furs, mounts, sheds, you name it, all around here. Yeah, being a vegan, picking grass, I don't really think is a cool lifestyle, but hey, I could be wrong.
I
What
eat
do I know?
broccoli. I eat vegetables.
Damn, mighty
Nothing
quick
wrong
on
with
that,
vegetables.
Alvin. Yeah, favorite venison recipe? You know what? My favorite is Brian Weber's West of Town venison. You ever had
Brian
that?
Weber's West of Town venison.
I've never
That's
had it.
literally the name of it, West of Town venison.
I don't think I have.
It's good. It's like it's nothing super elaborate. What he does is he just takes it and he hits it with flour and then he
Mhm.
puts it in butter with onions or whatever. But he allows that the flour to fry to where it's very crusty. Oh
yeah.
my God!
Tom Loshaw used to cook his like that.
Did he?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. He always called it West
Well,
of Town venison.
Doesn't he marinate all his venison and
I don't know.
soy sauce first?
I don't
I'm
know if he
pretty
does
sure
that.
he does.
Soy
Pretty sure.
sauce.
Soy sauce.
Sorry, sauce.
Big Daddy Webb better not be doing that.
I'm pretty sure. Maybe
That's
not.
that flavor you were
Might be
That's
tasting.
that
somebody
flavor,
else,
I
but-
guess so.
No,
Yeah.
I started making buck strips for my kids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you take a piece of round steak
Yeah.
and just cut it into like quarter-inch, half-inch strips.
Yeah.
3-4 inches long, and chicken fry it. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh yeah.
put it through an egg wash and then roll it in flour, and then
That
fry
would
it.
be good.
It's
Makes
good
me
for the
hungry.
kids. You know, they just grab it.
Well,
And
we
munch on it.
sat that one day.
We cooked venison like 12 different
Do we?
ways.
Danielle walks in the house and she's like, "What are you guys doing?" And we finally like calmed down and relaxed, and the kids are full. And we looked, and there's like piles of
Piles of
cooked up
venison.
venison. We're like, "Yeah, we might have went a little overboard on this one." Well, we were cutting
We're
the
eating
deer
good
up.
tonight, honey.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brady asked if we ever do deer drives. Yeah, tune
Mhm.
in. Episode 4, we have our we filmed our annual Thanksgiving morning
We're gonna get like
deer drive.
we're gonna get more
I mean, shot
detailed
deer.
after down. So
Yep.
get some more GoPros on that.
Yep.
More to come.
Better be. Do you guys do any trapping? Yeah, I do trapping. Actually, Jake's been trapping too. I started trapping more out of necessity than anything else. I'd never had any experience with trapping, but I started trapping because some of the marshes that I would hunt were getting flooded over. So I'd go in there and with some conibears and I'd trap the beavers out of there.
The one thing that I like, so I just started trapping this year.
Mhm.
My dad never really trapped or anything, so never had anyone teach me how to do it. And this year, a buddy of mine kind of brought it to my attention, and it so happened that he had somebody that owned a piece of property that needed some beavers trapped. And
Yeah.
I started digging into it a little bit, and what I found cool about trapping is like deer hunting's changed
Yeah.
immensely over the last
Yeah.
20 years, 30, 50 years, you know, say. Trapping has hardly changed at all.
Yeah. The conibear is still the conibear.
Like the 330 conibear, I don't even know how long it's been around.
Yeah.
But it just has not really changed at all. You know, when you're out running a trap line, you feel like you're
Mountain man.
mountain man. You
You're
know what
using
I mean?
the
Like
same
you're-
technology they
Yeah,
did.
yeah. It's a cool feeling.
you know?
Jake's got plenty of traps.
I need to get more.
Did you ever hear the story how he got all his traps?
No.
Well, he just wanted a few. He ended up with a whole truck full.
Oh God.
Yeah. So Scott's like, I'm at Jay's. You need me to pick up some traps? I'm like, yeah, because I ended up using like a handful of his 330s to
Yeah.
start out, and I meet up with him, and he's like, yeah, I bought all they had.
Why not?
He opens.
Truckload of 330s. I'm like, I don't even think I've still been able to set them all. Some of them still have tags on them.
He opened his trunk and it was like they almost fell out. That's how many he had.
Yeah. Paul says Christmas every day, guys, on the trap line. It is. I can't like.
I do. I love it.
When I go out
Yeah.
and I got a spread of traps, I can't wait to check them. I can't wait to wake up early the next morning and go check them.
Yeah.
Trapping will make you a better hunter. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, teaches you a lot of pattern recognition and strategy and implementation. Yeah. Deer hunting is illegal in my state, thank God. I don't think it's illegal anywhere.
It is. I think you can hunt deer in every
Yeah,
state.
you
in
can
the
hunt
United
deer
States.
everywhere. Yeah, you might want to check that. How high
City
up do you
limits,
hang your
maybe.
stand, Elvin? It looks like real high from your videos looking up over the swamp. Yeah, I got some tree stands that are about 50 feet in the air. Honestly, most of them, though, they're right around that 40, 45 foot mark. And I know that's even pretty high, but those are all rifle stands. They're not bow stands. When I'm bow hunting, I rarely get over 25 feet. But what state is that? Yeah, it doesn't exist, Sam, because I don't think deer hunting is illegal.
I can
in
see
any
maybe a
state.
city limit
Maybe
or
California, or yeah,
something.
like
City limits or something. Maybe a county and a city, like
yeah,
like a small county.
yeah,
and
but not a state.
not a state.
Not a state. I can't think of one state that has outlawed deer hunting in general. Yeah. Well, you may want to. Yeah, Cali. No, you can deer hunt in Cali. Sorry, you can deer hunt. You can elk hunt. I don't think. I think the only one you can't do is bear hunt or lion hunt. And I could even be wrong about that. But yeah, deer hunting's completely legal in California.
Anybody want to go to California?
Let's
and
go
kill
to
a deer?
California and shoot some deer. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You'd have
You
to
guys
fight
duck
over
hunt
that.
at all? No, I don't duck hunt, and there's a reason why. Because I know if I go duck hunting, I'm really gonna like it, and that will take time away from deer hunting. And I already am busy that time of year doing tree
So
work.
I've
So
never been into waterfowl, even bird hunting, upland bird hunting.
I like upland bird hunting.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I've just never.
I know Purgle's trying to
Never
get us to
dug
go
into
all
it.
the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
But I just
Yeah, Nick's
never
always
did
trying
it.
to get us to go. He used
Never did
to.
it.
Yeah, I'm protesting tomorrow. You should.
You go for it.
Yeah, go march past all the frickin' homeless people down San Francisco
Fight over
Boulevard,
those.
and go tell them you need your main priority for the state of California is to stop deer hunting and not get all the drug addicts and homeless people off the streets. You do that. Wait, 50 feet. Where do you even find the trees? We'll go white pines, Sam. You look at any white pines, they can get up to 100, 120 feet. And similar setups to you. I usually go 35 or 40 feet up, and the tree gets way too skinny.
Well, your brother's one tree is what, like
Aaron's
probably 36 inches at the diameter at the base.
yeah,
And
it's a
then,
pretty
like,
good tree.
10 inches, maybe 8 inches,
At-
where it stands at.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very, very, very small.
Well, you could really tell on that one that he shoots his buck with the white T-shirt.
The 2016 deer camp
That
video,
was
yeah,
a good one. That you could. You could
Looks like he's
literally
in a
s-
small tree,
Yeah.
but the base of that white pine's
Yeah.
I think it'd take like all
You-
three of us to get.
like, yeah.
In the background, he's like, "Man, this is so beautiful. I wish you guys could see this." And it's all tree line.
Well, you're halfway to the moon, Aaron.
I don't think anybody else is gonna get up there to see that with you.
I think that is the That's the tallest one that we've ever put up. The one out by that swamp where you killed that bear this year, I think that one would be close.
45 is
Yeah.
the highest I've ever been.
Yeah,
That's on that my marsh there. But
yeah. It's bad. Got me off deer hunting for 3 years. Finally balanced the both when I head north for the camp. Yeah, if I got into duck hunting, it'd probably get real ugly real quick, and I'd spend a lot of money. That's what I did when I got my boat and started big water fishing. I had to buy everything in one summer. So, same reason I don't hound hunt, because I know exactly where it goes. Instead for not deer hunting for 3 years, you saved it many.
Cupcake, he might not have killed any deer those 3 years, but he killed a lot more ducks than he would have deer.
Yeah. But it's okay. Those ducks aren't going to come to your bean fields and eat your beans. Do you use climbing sticks to get that high? As high as I can, but most of the time a good tree is going to have a lot of branches that I can use to continue climbing that high. But yeah, I have climbing
Usually
sticks.
them white pines, you get about 20 foot up.
Yeah, and then
with sticks.
you can climb with branches the rest of the way. Yeah, done that plenty of times. Or I have like some tree stands that I'll go and I'll put out, in the beginning of the season, and then I'll actually take all the sticks down from it, and then I'll carry in my lightweight climbing sticks. Almost like a mobile hunt, except I'm not. I know the tree that I'm going to. The tree stand's already set up. I just got to put the sticks to get up to it.
Yeah.
But if you buy those 20-foot sticks, you can get 40 feet.
Yeah, you had that
easily.
one stand stolen.
Ryan told Cupcake, I did kill many geese and ducks, along with a hell of a lot of walleye. Yeah, I'm ready to do some walleye fishing. Cheers to that, Ryan. Yeah,
That
used
sounds good right now,
lifeline or
doesn't it?
Lineman belt to around all those limbs. No, never have. Never have. I probably should, but I don't.
You harness up when you.
I am
get
harnessed
to-
up when I get to the tree, but I don't use a climbing line. Is there height specific for hunting swamps, or do you do that in the hill too? Usually in the hills when I'm rifle hunting, I'm about maybe 30 feet. Yeah, I don't need to get that high because
You get that high in the hills and you're into the canopy of the trees.
Yeah, then they're seeing you pretty easily.
Yeah.
The reason why you can get so high
Skyline.
in like a pine tree is because you're not getting silhouetted. Yeah, that's the nice thing about big white pines. We even use big red pines. I remember that one buck Joe shot in 2015. We found a red pine and we used climbers to get like 40 feet up in it.
Yeah.
Had to knock down a few of the dead branches that were there, but we could get high enough, and he ended up killing his buck out of that tree. It was about 40 feet up.
That's the red pine that I was in where I passed up Baby Drop and
Yeah.
killed that 7-point.
Yeah.
I was about 40 feet in a climber. That's about as high as you can go on a climber.
And Travis gets even higher now in that tree.
Yeah.
Travis is a little bit higher now because it's all grown up.
No, he's max. It was maxed out.
Was it?
Yeah. With a climber, you can't physically. I mean, unless
Yeah,
you
that
like,
sounds good, Ryan.
unless you were to like put sticks up
Mm-hmm.
and start your climber like 10, 12 foot off the ground,
Yeah.
you could probably get higher. But
I've seen that in Ohio where people they'll put their climber up in the tree, and then they'll use climbing sticks or spikes to get up to it, and then they just leave the tree stand there like it's a permanent stand.
yeah.
Me and Tony found one of those one year. Heard it mentioned, do you guys rely on other hunters and pressure for opening a rifle to move deer? Try to get away from that. Yeah, we've definitely used pressure to our advantage because, in all honesty, like I've put trail cameras into some spots, and I know we talked about this before, and I put trail cameras in certain spots, and there won't be any activity until rifle season starts, till them deer get pushed in there. Usually, once the last week of October, you start getting more people out in the woods, deer scouting and deer hunting, and it pushes them deer into those spots, and basically you're just waiting for them to show up.
So these guys probably don't know it, but the frozen trigger buck, I told you guys,
Yep.
I knew where there was another guy hunting, actually 2 other guys hunting. And I used them to my advantage. I knew anything that popped out between me and them would get their scent and more than likely turn and come towards me. And I literally watched that big buck that had my malfunction on. I watched him come out, and he actually winded the guy. He was probably 350, 400 yards, upwind of that buck when he came out. And he just kind of stuck his nose up in there, got a whiff of him, and turned and come right down to me. And it would have worked in my advantage, but
Excuses. That was a rough one.
yeah, that was a prime example, though, of using other hunters to your own advantage,
Yeah, I know. And I've done podcasts in the past before talking about pressure and everything, and I think the pressure has pretty much stabilized, but like we've said in the past, I think people are becoming a little bit more privy, with the content that we put out, but a lot of content that gets put out about having to get back far, getting into, more secluded areas.
Mm-hmm.
So you start seeing more pressure in the right spots.
Yeah.
People are learning actually how to deer hunt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy the deer some of you guys don't ever even know are around that reason. They get busted without even knowing it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Ryan. Jake had mentioned it earlier. He saw that buck in person in December, during elk season. Also got a picture of him on December 18th.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which would have been right around the same time that I seen him in person.
Yeah.
But then I also had pictures of bucks that had shed their horns already
Yeah.
after that, so he could have been one of those deer too.
Yeah. Very well could have.
I'm hoping to go pick them sheds up.
We hope
Be
he's
cool.
back there next
Be a
year.
good story.
Mm-hmm.
I can already see it now. We're going to be down in Ohio next year, and he's going to get a cell cam picture of it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's gonna happen.
I'm back.
Come kill me.
Come get some. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Was there any more questions you guys got for us? I think we're reaching the 2-hour mark here, so the learning curve for hunting and and even killing big bucks shrank from decades to a few years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you used to have to spend your whole life learning how to kill deer like, that we all want to kill. Nice mature bucks, good rack. And then now you can go on the internet and you can learn this stuff. But there's a lot of stuff on the internet that's, pretty bogus. But,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can get wrapped up into a bunch of nonsense really quick and
yeah.
be extremely confused and
Yeah.
overthinking it. And
I've always told people just make sure you know where you're getting your information from.
yeah,
If you're getting your information from someone that's grew up hunting private land, private farms in Iowa, or southern Wisconsin or something like that, it's probably not going to serve you very well on public big woods timber
right.
deer.
Yeah.
It's just not. And that's no fault to anyone giving the information.
It's just
but
completely different
it's just-
style.
Yeah. It's way different.
Mm-hmm.
There are just a few Dan and Fault cronies around me, but we bump into each other all over the place. A couple good hunters can burn up lots of good ground. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for mobile hunting and people trying new areas, but there's a lot of people out there trying to implement a tactic that maybe doesn't have the highest success rate and more or less pressures deer even more. I'll put it that way to put it nicely. You can quickly pick those people out, where they're doing, what they're trying to do at certain times of the year. You can pretty much just chalk it up to him watching a YouTube video and trying to do it himself. Explains it without being too much of a asshole.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your highest scoring buck in Michigan you've ever shot? I didn't score my big 8, but I'm assuming he's around, I'd say probably within a few inches of 120.
Your big 8.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe
he's really narrow. That's really the only thing
That's
that
the
hurts
problem with
him.
him.
But beans are nice and long.
Probably between 115 and 120.
Mm-hmm.
So unofficially, my 10-point was 131 and change,
Yep.
and then step down from that. That buck that I shot this year, I think, what was it? Just over, just under 120. I think just under 120. I don't remember. But I've never had a deer officially scored. I
Yeah.
don't really care that much.
If I shot one like that I knew
Like your
was,
Booner buck, obviously.
oh yeah, I had to have him scored.
Had to have him scored, but we're not shooting for inches here.
Yeah.
No.
Not here in the part of Michigan where we hunt, anyways.
My 9 was just under 120. The one
Yeah.
I shot this year.
Yeah. And that's a big deer.
Yeah.
That is a big, big deer. I don't think people understand what it takes to get 120 inches of bone on a deer's head.
Right.
A lot of people don't know what that looks like. Like I said, there's levels to it. There's reading the info and implementing it. And then there's putting it all together and it's starting to click. Yeah, I mean, when you think about deer hunting, it's really, really simple. It comes down to pattern recognition, strategy, and execution. That's it. It's the same way of thinking that you put into a chess match, into running a business, anything. It's pattern recognition, strategy, and execution. And I know all three of us, we've been talking about doing a couple workshops throughout the year, whether it be in the summer or in the dead of the winter. But we want to get people, probably do 20 or 30 at a time, to where we can break down, specific spots and, kind of talk about some of the patterns that we see and some of the patterns that we try to, hunt on and, put a strategy on and try to kill a deer on. But
And also the ones you want to avoid.
yeah.
Plenty of those too.
And what time to use those patterns
Right.
or hunt them patterns. I tried.
Man, your eyes must be great, dude.
Yeah, I'm having.
I'm straining, trying to read it, and it
Well,
just
the
keeps getting
lights hit 'em
blurrier and
just
blurrier.
right.
Yeah, Ryan said I tried scoring mine, got 91-ish, the 115-ish. The second, not even sure what I did wrong on the wall now. It's the memories. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Most people, if you held the deer up to them and said this is a 120-inch deer, and it was an 8-point, most of those people, if they see him in the real woods, are going to think it was a 130-plus inch deer,
Yeah.
135.
Yeah.
And I don't think they.
120-inch 8-point's big.
That's a really big deer.
Big.
Yeah.
Like, you don't realize it, but you take a deer, you take the same 8-point,
Yeah.
and that's 120 inches. You give him 4-inch G-force.
Yeah.
He just went to a 128-inch deer.
Yeah.
Same frame, same everything, but you give him 4-inch G-force,
Mm-hmm.
and he went to 128 inches just like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Mass too. A
And
lot of people
mass,
don't
yeah.
realize how much mass goes into it.
Well, and that's the other thing, you take like a lot of your 10 points. Like, the reason my Big Ten scores so great is because he's palmated.
Yeah.
His 2s, 3s, and 4s kind of all grow out together,
Yeah.
and he's super palmated.
Yeah,
He's
that
got
was a
great
cool
mass
dude.
measurements.
The way he curled too was just
like
just
sleigh.
like, oh god, that's a sexy looking rack. I may have missed it. Are you guys going to these Q&As regularly? Yes, we are. We're gonna be trying doing one every Friday after the deer camp episodes. So we're gonna have a total of 5 of them. We're gonna try doing it every Friday night or Thursday night. This all depends on when Charlie gets back into town. He works out of town all week, so. But yeah, throughout the summer and fall, we'll be doing, Q&As probably once or twice a month. But we'll also be putting the podcast on the YouTube channel, as well as all our other podcast outlets: Apple, Google Play, Spotify, Spreaker. So we'll be having more content like this. 130-inch 8-point looks a lot different than a 130-inch 10-point. Yeah, it does. Most people they don't realize that either. Yeah, you tell me you kill a 130-inch 8-point, I know that's a damn good deer. Takes a lot of antler for 130. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you drinking that beer? Well, I was drinking it, and then I got one that's my spitter, so I chew tobacco. So
And that's bad for you guys.
yes, Charlie. 8s are my favorite for sure. I like 8 points, but I like 10 points. I like 11 points
I like
too.
big eights.
Big eights are cool though, especially
Mhm.
when that got good length.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, eights are my favorite.
I'm,
for
I'm,
sure.
you know what I mean? I wouldn't mind a 12 point.
Mm.
If we're getting
Yeah.
out there, I wouldn't mind seeing one of those. we
I've
don't
sh-
see those a lot around
I've
here.
shot everything between 1 and 12 besides a 5 and a 12. I've never shot a 5 point.
Never shot a 5 point?
No, and that's the craziest thing because a Michigan 5 point is
Mm-hmm.
that's a trophy.
So
Is
I
it
haven't
Michigan
killed an
5 point?
11 point.
You haven't killed an 11 point?
Mm-mm. No, I've killed lots of 10 points.
Yeah, you have killed a lot of 10 points. I've
A
only
lot
killed
of 10
one.
points.
I've killed a lot of 8 points.
And I've killed a lot of 9 points. So I went the longest time. I think between,
A lot of eights.
Yeah.
huh?
A lot of eights.
Yeah, but I didn't shoot an 8 point up until like 5 years ago. So I had everything else but an 8
Oh, yeah.
point.
Isn't that
I
crazy?
had 2 10 points, a couple 9 points. I went forever. I had lots of 7s.
Yeah.
So what should have been my first 8 point, I actually shot with Charlie's gun that year.
Oh, yeah?
The rifling went out of my
308.
300 Win Mag.
Oh, that's what it was,
It was a Model 700,
Yeah.
and the rifling went out of it. So I used Charlie's 30-06 in opening morning. This 8 point comes in chasing a doe,
Mm-hmm.
and I was up in a climber, and he comes running by me. I mouth gun at him. He stops and he looks right up at me. Both brow tines, big as shit. And this is in the hills, you know.
Yeah.
I'm right up on top of this big ridge and it drops off the other side. Boom, I dump him. He goes rolling down that hill. Busts the frickin' brow tine off. I go down there, freshly busted off. The brow tine's busted clean off. I'm
We
like,
looked.
looked and looked and looked and looked. I'm like, damn it, that was my first 8 point.
Yeah, I remember that one, though.
And then I think it was the following year I shot an 8 with my bow on
Mhm.
opening day, actually, October 1st.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
then-
the that's
And then
the quiver
since then,
buck.
I've shot a bunch. It was like, once I got the first 8 point out of the way, they just
Yeah, once
kept
you
on
got-
coming.
Yep. I wouldn't mind shooting a clean 10. I haven't shot a clean 10. That one that I shot 2020 was broken
Yeah.
brow tine.
Yeah, my only clean 10 was the one I got in Ontario.
Yeah.
You know, other than that, it's been high and tight 8s.
Yeah, but that's one of the ones I want. I want a nice
Yeah.
high. Oh, don't get me wrong. That 5 point I shot in Ohio was high and tight,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't mind having a nice high and tight. And it might be because of you, dragging all yours out. And I just want one. But I wouldn't mind having a nice high and tight 8 point or 10 point, just nice and tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't shoot very many narrow, tall bucks.
That one with Brindley.
You shoot all wide bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they only have, like, 4 or 5 inch G2s, like, they're all nice and wide.
Yeah, the one you shot with the kids. If that was like a big buck.
So
that'd
that was
be
like a
beautiful deer.
miniature of Alvin's big 8 point. It's like the
Yes.
same thing,
Yeah.
super narrow,
Mhm.
tall brows, tall tines,
Yeah.
just goes straight up.
The same one you shot in 2014
Yeah.
is almost like that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That
High
was a
and
nice
tight.
buck.
Just high and tight.
Beautiful color to it and everything. It just needed to be bigger.
Just need to be bigger.
You know what I mean? But
Which was crazy because that 8 point that I shot in 2014,
Mhm.
I saw him and had him on camera multiple times the year before. That was a 2.5-year-old deer.
Huh.
Because I remember that was one of the first bucks that I remembered. I was like, Aaron, I got that buck on camera. Me and Aaron went look back, looked at the trail camera pictures, sure as heck.
Right.
He was a little pencil horned, you know, and
Mhm.
all he basically did was I don't even know if he got wider. He just got thicker and maybe a little longer in areas.
Well, that's
that was it.
That's what's good about cameras. You know what I mean? Right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That first 9 I shot this year,
Mm-hmm.
I went back in my pictures the last couple of years. That buck that's a 3.5-year-old buck.
Yeah.
I got 3 years of pictures of him now.
So I hunted that deer this year that I had 3 years of pictures of. At 9 point, I had him as a 2.5-year-old. I'm sure he is 2.5.
Yeah.
And I had him as a 3-year-old, and then I had him this year. I'm sure he's a 4-year-old buck this year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think he got shot though. I think he's dead.
Hmm. Dad's buck that was shot. Where did he actually hit it in episode 2? Oh, your dad's.
Oh, my dad? Where did he shoot it? All right, so he was aiming for here, and he was hoping he had a branch in front of him,
Yeah.
and he had a little bit of snow that you could see in the footage, and he aimed right above it. The white of the neck
He's aiming for the
was
white
right
patch.
above that snow limb, and he was thinking the limb was small. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, he smoked that limb, and the bullet, rather than hitting the deer here, ended up hitting the deer right here.
God.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I would have liked to show the footage of us recovering
A little
it,
graphic.
and have them talking, but
yeah.
it was
Floppy horns.
floppy horns and stuff. The stuff that was coming out of the bullet hole was not for kids at all. But yeah, so he was shooting for the neck, and my dad's a big neck guy. If you give him the chance at 100 yards, he's
Because the deer drops.
yeah.
Yeah, they don't go anywhere.
I like that shot, high shoulder, where the neck meets, like the collarbone of the
Yeah.
deer. With a rifle, that's what I pick.
Especially when they're quartering
like
to
the
you.
collarbone.
Yeah, I like when they're quartering too, and you're in a tree stand. You pin it right there, right at the base of the neck,
Yeah.
where you know it's going down in the vitals, but it's hitting that main area.
2 of my biggest bucks.
Oh my God, dude, they don't go anywhere.
They don't move.
They don't.
Yeah. The two biggest bucks is where I shot that was the muzzleloader. Both bucks with a muzzleloader right here,
Yeah,
and they both went 20 yards.
I shot my 10-point on.
Yeah, but if you bring that up just a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
you're dumping them.
yeah,
They can't take a step because you break their spine.
yeah, they're done.
Well, we hit that 2 hour mark.
Yeah, yeah. How many cameras do you guys run? I usually run anywhere between 8 and 15, depending on the time of the season. Usually by November 15th, I have all my cameras out, and they're soaking for me. But some of them are cell cams, some of them are regular SD cams. And
How many cameras for you, Jake? How many is that?
I don't know. A lot.
I
So
got
I run a bunch of chip cameras that just basically stay in the woods all the time.
Yeah.
Bounce them around here and there and
Yeah.
check them, like twice a year.
Yep.
I think I actually forget a lot in the woods that I've probably never
Probably.
picked up.
I know I got cameras in the woods.
And then I run a bunch of the cell links, the Spy Point cell links, cheap cell cams.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got probably about 10, and then I got a handful of regular chip cameras.
Yep.
Those chip cameras are for the little man to put his cameras out and stuff. But
Yeah.
so around 10, 15 cameras
Yeah.
if they work.
Yeah, I think I got like 8 or 9 cell cams and then a few SD cams. And then I got some SD cams out in the woods right now that I got to go check in the spring.
But that's the bad thing, out of 10 cameras, I only had one camera working. It was a whole different brand of camera. So
Well, Ryan, I actually have a very good story about that. I will tell you right now, I will not be buying any more Spy Point cameras
Nope.
because I had one that said it had 2 bars of service. I put it out in like the last week of October, and it was sitting in a spot where I'd killed deer in the past. And, and I put it in there. There was actually one of the areas where I found a little bit of acorns in September, and I went back in elk season because I hadn't been getting many pictures from it. A lot of elk, a lot of does coming through the area, and then I went and checked it in elk season in December, and I had a nice 10-point on camera multiple times during daylight during rifle season.
yeah, I was the one that got the text messages when he got
Yeah.
all mad on that
I was
one.
so mad it wasn't even funny. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. So, and I know Jake, he has experience with the Tacticams, and he seems to
Yeah.
like those. So I think that's what
Yeah,
I'll
I
be
love the
buying more of.
Tacticams.
if
I've
it-
only got 3 of them
if-
right now, but
If anybody from Tacticam is watching this in the future, you can hit us up anytime because
Yeah.
literally I had a Spy Point on the tree on no service, no pictures. I took that Tacticam, put above it, turned it on, push test, 3 bars.
Yeah.
Took that
Yeah, I'll be
camera
doing the
back to my
Tacticams.
back to my house, back to camp, or it was camp. Took that Spy Point, turned it on, let it sit there for a minute at camp. We got service at camp.
Yep.
Comes right on, full service.
Yeah.
Sent me pictures. You know what I mean?
I haven't found a place where a Tacticam won't work yet.
And it's just nice you get both cards of Tacticam. So if Verizon doesn't work, AT&T's right there.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Yeah.
How much snow is on the ground in the woods? There's still quite a bit of snow on the ground up here.
About knee deep.
Yeah, there's quite a bit up here. You think that we will see a ban on the cell cam in Michigan like they did in Kansas? Well, they banned all trail cameras on public land in Kansas. So I hope not. I really hope they don't. I think with the amount of public land that we have, I don't think that's going to be as easy to do in Kansas. In Kansas, if you look at like the Boone and Crockett entries, Kansas has dropped over the last 10 years significantly. I think it's because it drew a lot of attention. It does have some walk-in access, and I think, we know people that live in Kansas, and they will straight up tell you that outfitters out there do, especially if they're next to walk-in areas, they don't like people coming out on public land, and so there could be could have been a voice there that was supporting it from the hunters' angle. Who knows? I don't know. It's hard to speculate. I've heard a few things. I don't know what is exactly to be true or not, but all I know is they held a meeting without pretty much telling anyone. All these so-called hunting organizations didn't notify any hunters that this meeting was happening, and a bunch of bureaucrats got together with a decision they had already made before entering the building. They took a couple public comments just as a formal process to make it look good, and then they banned hunters' rights to use trail cams on public land in Kansas. Makes no sense. It's almost like it's designed because it is.
I feel like
now public land hunters in Kansas don't have the right to use trail cameras.
the majority of public hunters in Kansas are non-residents.
I would venture to guess that, yes,
You know.
because it's very easy to get access on private
So it'd be
land.
very easy for them in Kansas to slip that by.
Oh,
you
easy.
know, the private landowners, they're going to be for it.
100%, especially a lot of people that lease land for outfitting.
Yeah. Give the non-residents, the non-locals a disadvantage. They're
Mom's
going
gonna
to
see with that.
take that chance, you know.
Yeah, you'll start seeing in other states that are highly sought after for out-of-state hunters.
Yeah.
Where a lot of private land hunters, they're going to support a band like that on public land. So I would look there first. My neighbor just walked over and goes, "Ryan, you got 7 beer cans. They only have 4, and one is a spitter." All right, it looks like I need to catch up.
You guys need to be able to understand what we're saying. Trying to keep our speaking clear
Yeah, we
here.
don't want to get too crazy. I do miss the old days of seeing a big buck rub and just dreaming of how big the buck might be and not knowing until you see it in person. Yeah, there's a lot of value to that, a lot of nostalgic feeling to that, but I think as technology's improved, it has given us advantages. However, those advantages have aided in 2 things: helping hunters become more selective because they know that there are bigger deer in the woods. And number 2, I believe it has helped participation. I think people spend more time in the woods in general, not just deer hunting, but I think they spend more time in the woods because of trail cameras, which is a positive, in my eyes anyways. So I'll tell you what, we're at 2 hours and 13 minutes, so we're going to get wrapping this up. I appreciate everyone coming out today and tuning in. I know it's on a Friday night, so a lot of people probably got things going on. If we do get the opportunity, we'll probably do these more on a Thursday night or
Yeah.
something. So
Yeah, I got
Just
about
keep
one
that.
more week of work downstate,
Yeah.
and then I'll be up here. So.
We could have done it last night, I think.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
had a good turnout still, you know.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we'll be doing a lot more of these. Keep an eye out for next Friday. We'll be doing another one after episode 3, but also take a look at the podcast that we recorded last night. It'll be dropping Monday. Like I said, it's going to be on Google Play. It's going to be on Apple. It's going to be on Spotify. It's going to be on Spreaker. And then I'm also making a video and putting it on YouTube, so that way you can watch it as a video like we post, but it'll just be the podcast. So keep an eye out for that. We actually had a couple good topics that we covered:
Yeah,
spring
yeah.
scouting, some turkey hunting, and also some archery hunting.
Pretty much
So
just sit down and
Yeah.
talk to each other, and
some other shenanigans.
have
So-
another one coming up. So
So, thanks a lot, everyone, for tuning in tonight. And hope you guys enjoyed episode 2. Hope you enjoy episode 3. Love to hear your comments on it. Please subscribe, and share it if you can. The more eyes we get on this, the more other people see the traditions that we love to enjoy. So, until next week, stay wild.
stay wild, guys.
Stay
Stay
wild.
tuned.
So, yeah.